death, keep our souls, lest they fall prey to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to the Grand Alliances format. So today we have 8 teams who are going to be playing and having some good old fun. So firstly, we have Elves versus the Undead, Eastern Order Tide versus the Western Order Tide, the Ogre Mercenaries, which is one of the unique alliances we have in this format, is that the Ogres can bring any ally on their alliance who is not a Chaos faction. So it's kind of like playing into the Ogre Mercenary system. So the Ogre Mercenaries, I believe, are the Ogres and Bretonnians, which, you know, I could see Bretonnia offering the Ogres some wine and some delicious Bretonnian cheese and kind of luring them into kind of helping with their cause. They're going to be facing off against Chaos Undivided. Marked Chaos is actually going to be Professor Pone and I. So this week I'm playing, I'm going to be playing Nurgle, and Professor Pone is going to be playing Khorne, and we're going to be facing off against the Western Order Tide here in the first faction. Yeah, how you guys doing? Hope you're all doing well. The board artwork is the definition of hack. Yeah, it's, you know, the background art here is actually very good. The issue is the text. The fonts are really what truly encapsulate the nature of this channel, which is great. So that's going to be the whole party, man. These are the players. They're all going to be done via replays, so there won't be any lag. All games are best of 1, and the finals are going to be best of 3. So all the early round games, and then finals are best of 3 as well. So it should be quite a bit of fun. So the winners from last time did not, one of them joined, but I believe the true Bretonnian wasn't available. But Kark was the Wood Elf player on the winning team last time, and he's actually playing the Undead today. So he's on the Undead with Takoyaki. So certainly going to be a very strong team. I believe they're doing Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings, or Vampire Counts or Coast and Tomb Kings. I can't remember, but we'll get to them eventually. So yeah, man, that's going to be it. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be jumping right into our first match today. So we're going to be starting on the bottom side of the bracket. We're going to be doing Marked Chaos, Professor Pone and myself versus the Western Order Tide. So let's get this party started. Let's have some fun and see how this all unfolds. Let me just move this over here, make sure I have all the correct stuff pulled up. And it looks like we are good to go. So yes, we are on the correct screen. Let's do it. So over here on the northern side of the battlefield, or the west, depending on the perspective you're looking at, it is going to be, okay, so I've got to move the text here. There we go. Sometimes I feel like I need like a third monitor or something. It's going to be myself on Nurgle. So I'm going to be playing Nurgle in today's event. And Nurgle's great if you're feeling lazy, you don't want to micro a bunch of units, you just kind of want to move forward and do your thing. It can certainly work very, very well. So quick question in chat. What defines the Eastern Order Tide? So Eastern Order Tide has the Empire, Dwarves, and Cathay, and the Western Order Tide has the High Elves and Lizardmen. Bretonnia's in the middle, so Bretonnia can be brought with either faction. And yeah, it just kind of gives us more of a range of alliances to play, which is fun. Because otherwise, like, Order would have like 7 or 8 factions, and Chaos would have like 8 factions, and the other ones would have like almost nothing. So we had to split it up and make it a little bit more fair. So here we got Chaos Warriors with great weapons, double Soul Grinders. Soul Grinders are very, very good against a lot of the Elven stuff. So if we're talking Lothern Sea Guard, Elite Elven Infantry, the Soul Grinders can definitely pop them down. And honestly, they're pretty good in melee too. So if you're worried about like a dragon character or something like coming after you, you're going to be able to swarm with like Soul Grinders and your other characters. Now, for the rest of the army, Professor Pone has the hard carry piece, so he's going to be coming in with Scarbrand. Scarbrand with healing is one of the strongest characters in the game. He's an insane duelist, can karate chop pretty much anything he fights, and if you have Festus nearby with healing elixirs and Fleshy Abundance, you can get crazy value as well. Kislev is in the Eastern, they're in the Eastern Order Tide, yeah, with the Empire and Dwarves and everyone. Double Cultists of Nurgle, double Cultists of Khorne. Really, the strategy was to get a bunch of like annoying single entities that are very tough to remove and just get like healing elixirs and sauce them up. Pone's going to be going with the Cornate Warriors. We felt like they would be a slightly better choice, and considering I was going for double Soul Grinder, we wanted to make sure to wanted to make sure that we had a good infantry corps. For our glorious opponent, it's going to be Moose Lord and Leech Lord, the High Elf and Lizardman Alliance, which is certainly quite cool. Lots of healing. So you have a Salon Mage of Life. You also have a Rev Crystal, the Shredder of Lustria, a fair amount of Saurus, White Lines of Krace, Lothern Seaguard, and on the far side, we do have the Clausedon Hunter spawning in as well. So for them, it's just like a really scary kind of anchor on the Shredder of Lustria, which can put up a great fight against Scarbrand. It has almost, 5,000-6,000 more HP, so it's going to be a pretty nasty threat. Now, right out of the gates, the Soul Grinder's putting some hurt onto the backfield of the army, so just softening up the Saurus Warriors and also shooting at some of the Lothern Seaguard here. But our opponents, Moose Lord and Leech Lord, did a very good job bringing a Bolt Thrower. So Bolt Thrower is an excellent answer against Soul Grinders, and even a single Bolt Thrower here is going to be able to push those bad boys back. So we'll see how it goes. Now, we want the blob fight here. This is what Pone and I were kind of playing for. We were really hoping that our opponents would just kind of blob up on this objective and we could get, the Haggard Triple Chins and then get Scarbrand just kind of like taking things down and get a Mortis Engine to grind this battle down. What's really good about our synergy here as well is that we have the Chaos Warriors with the armor sundering on the Cultists. So the Cultists will sunder the armor of these units, making Chaos Warriors that much more effective. But here comes Scarbrand, going to be getting in with the dreaded, no soccer kicks yet, but he'll be getting there in a second as he will be punting some of these guys into the Shadow Realm. Oh, I feel bad for that guy, that sucks for sure. But the Dread Saurian has come in to duel Scarbrand, and things are going to get a little bit messy. Nice breath attack from our opponents as well. Beautiful stuff. As the monster fight is on, and Scarbrand could be in a little bit of danger versus the Dread Saurian, especially the Shredder of Lustria, who also poisons, as well as Imrit coming in. So yeah, things are going to get very, very scary. Now, my cultists are fighting here. Scarbrand in a very, very hard fight. You can see he's actually getting worked on pretty good here, but we got Fleshy Abundance for this bad boy. Unfortunately, he was on fire when I cast it, so he's not going to be getting the most effective healing. Now, seeing he was in some danger, the Soul Grinders are going to be coming in, and Professor Pone does summon in the Minotaurs of Khorne. So the anti-large armor piercing going to be going after Imrik. The Dread Saurian kind of got pushed out of the fight a little bit by the Soul Grinders. So you can see the two Soul Grinders got into melee with the Dread Saurian, but our opponents also respond to the Clausedon Hunters. And a really, really strong synergy of this composition is the fact that our opponents have the Dragon Horn, which gives a melee attack buff to both armies, right? So Thoric does that. It's really, really strong. Now, Imrik does overextend a little bit, though. Sometimes his attack animations can make him bleep, and Imrik does get into enemy territory, and Big Daddy Scarbrand is here, and he is healed up from Festus, and the Minotaurs with great weapons are going to be going to Pound Town. So really good catch by Professor Pone. I do also send in reinforcements of the Soul Grinder to kind of try and make sure this guy doesn't get away. And Imrik does get smashed here, but he does have a regrowth from the Banana Salon, so that bad boy is going to be healing. Now, as far as the rest of the fights goes, a bit of a wash. I have Festering Stooges and Chaos Warriors sitting on the back objective. I also do pull in a couple Marauder Horsemen. Our opponent's sending in White Lines of Krace, but our cultists and annoying kind of ground-based characters seem to be doing some pretty good work, as Imrik might be dying here. It's hard to say. I have the Horsemen throwing axes, but our opponent's doing a good job stacking Rev Crystals, as well as some of the other tools here, and yeah, it looks like Rage and Bodies is active, but unfortunately he's broken, so he's just going to be running, but very, very close to death here as Imrik is sitting at 1300 HP. Response is going to be a banishment, it looks like. I think that's coming in from the Salon Mage, so the Salon Mage does get a nice banishment on our backfield. Looking at damage values, Professor Pone's the Scarbrand is just doing so much damage. I mean, he's probably up to like several thousand. He is at 13 right now. And I'm basically just mouth breathing and healing. That's basically it. Just kind of following around, Scarbrand with Festus and trying to heal that bad boy up while also repositioning my Soul Grinders and using them to bombard archers. So I took my Soul Grinders around the formation, just kind of shooting at the archer units. Now on the other side, Elves going to be coming in with more and more spears as well as some basic archers to try and just get enough bodies on the objective to kind of flip that back. Looking at the combined values of both teams, 5.2 and 2. Our opponents, it's pretty close, but I think we have a little bit more healing, and obviously taking out Imrik is a pretty big catch. Now, even though the Shredder of Lustria is one of the most, strong, powerful units in the game in terms of dueling, Scarbrand's here. We got Festus with the triple chins applying a little bit of poison. We also have Cultists on the ground, and the Cultists did bring the debuffing items, if I'm not mistaken, so we do have the Warrior's Bane, which lowers the weapon strength of the Dread Saurian, and several other things. Now, a bit of a resurgence from our opponents here. You'll notice we're starting to run out of tools a little bit on this objective. We do have some reinforcements coming in, Fleshhounds of Khorne and Minotaurs, and my Soul Grinder is still, of course, maneuvering and shooting around the side. But the objective's starting to flip a little bit, getting a little bit scary. Dread Saurian does get a fat regrowth right there. Festus also being attacked, and this was a scary moment. I kind of lost track of Festus. He does have some Minotaur bodyguards here, but the Dread Saurian does get over here and is going to be absolutely pounding my lord. So that was not good. Festus gets brought down to half health like instantly and pushed back. So Big Chungus is going to be fleeing the scene. But thankfully there were some Minotaurs of Khorne nearby who were able to body block the Dread Saurian from moving. But I really like these combos, right? Like Festus plus Scarbrand, Dread Saurian plus Rev Crystal plus Slan. And obviously the High Elves have the Dragon Horn to buff up the entire army. Very, very neat strategies for sure. A Colossadon Hunter is going to be isolating one of my big boys over here. So the Soul Grinder of Nurgle going to be getting hunted, which is a very, very good play. Colossadon Hunters can absolutely annihilate one of these Soul Grinders. So that's a smooth play from our opponents there, picking off one of our value pieces. As far as the grind on the objective goes, summons are going to start coming out. My two cultists both very much in good shape. Nurgle cultists do have regeneration, and they are also sundering the armor of these elves and these Golden Riders right here. So we'll see how this all unfolds. Festus is going to be switching on the Harbinger of Pestilence, so now the Mortis engine is on. Scarbrand was almost healing capped, so I figured that I could keep him topped off with just Fleshy Abundance. So good to be switching this. It looks like there's going to be a Burning Head going down to the Chaos Warriors. Won't do too much damage since the Chaos Warriors themselves are pretty heavily armored. Burning Head effects, it doesn't have good armor piercing value, so it's not going to do a whole lot. Now, feeling as if we were in control of this fight, we still have Scarbrand in good health. Scarbrand's going pretty balls deep on the Shredder of Lustria here. Festus with the Mortis engine should be able to win this fight with the two cultists. I decided to do a back objective push, so we get the Festering Stooges as well as these Chaos Warriors pushing onto the back point, and they should be able to dominate most of these fights. Granted, the Fireborn has come out, although Fireborn will do pretty poorly against Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors with high armor, great weapons, will actually probably trade into them okay. So this fight's going to be very favorable for us, as we should be able to push them back, and I do have some Chosen of Nurgle, so I brought Chosen out as well. Just wanted to bring some cool units, including Chaos Knights. So I do have Chaos Knights coming in, and you can see them emerging from the back right now. That's what's really fun about 2v2. Like, you can find excuses to use units that normally wouldn't be like super good in 1v1, and they actually have a place, right? They actually have a place. So Scarbrand's pulling back. He's very low. The Dreadsaurian did get healed up. Very good play from our opponents here as they do summon in some Salamanders. You can see that the Lizardmen are certainly doing most of the damage, whereas Khorne is doing most of the damage on our team, and, of course, that's to be expected. Opponent's playing great. Salamander hunting packs in position. Going to be blasting at our big boys and forcing us back. Unfortunately, Festus is running for the hills, being hunted Jurassic Park style by the Dreadsaurian. So this is very scary. I was trying to get away. We need some Minotaurs with great weapons or something big to be coming in. Marauder Horseman going to be getting sacrificed, and Big Daddy Scarbrand comes back in for the rescue, sitting at 775, but there's also a big scary Phoenix up in the sky, so we do have a Flamespar Phoenix moving in. And the Chaos Knights of Nurgle are going to be providing some buffering, so they'll be keeping away some of these extra units. And now the Shredder of Lustria is a little bit overextended, as Scarbrand is just going Super Saiyan back here as he battles this giant beast of the East, as he gets those big 700 weapon strength attacks. Marauder Horseman of Nurgle with throwing axes sitting in the back as well. And we do have our Godzilla versus King Kong fight. But Shredder of Lustria is healing cap. Scarbrand is healing cap, sitting at 1100 HP. It's so close. Just an absolute pit fight, trying to get Festus back in there to provide a little bit of support. But hopefully Scarbrand's able to get the job done. Chaos Knights of Nurgle doing an okay job, fending off the Reavers and providing some buffering. But the Shredder of Lustria is wavering. It's at 12 leadership, ladies and gentlemen. Double throwing axes getting a fair amount of DPS. Scarbrand at 185. And the Greater Demon of Khorne is going to be falling to the Shredder of Lustria. But they're basically going to be trading here. The Shredder of Lustria is probably going to break. It is broken. Harbinger of Pestilence going down, but Scarbrand easily cleared probably 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 value this game, so he did very well for himself. On the other side of the battlefield, the epicenter is really over here, but the Nurglite force is still pushing. Chaos Warriors and Festering Stooges grinding very well through these units, and now we got Chosen as well as our Soul Grinder moving up to support. A nice response, though. Very good play here from Leechlord. He does summon in the Ripperdactyls, and the Ripperdactyls will be very good against Chosen of Nurgle. I don't know, Chosen of Nurgle might be able to put up a fight against them just because their stats are so good, but yeah, this is a counter. So this is a very good response. I'm going to need a little something to help out there. Moving up Nurgling, so we got little Popcorn Bandits, and our Soul Grinder did pull back and is going to be bombarding these infantry on the point. As far as this objective goes, though, it does flip to our opponent, so they are able to kind of get back in this game a little bit. Their combined value is certainly higher than ours, but we have 100% done more healing. With the Fleshy Abundance, Fecundity, and Festus's AoE healing, we're hands down a little bit higher in terms of the value. And Festus, his triple chins, they're still going strong. My two cultists still fighting up on the point. There's a Flamespar Phoenix, which should be trying to kill Festus right now. I got little Popcorn Bandits coming in, so we got double Nurglings on the point with Festus, as well as the double cultist, or I think single cultist. Professor Pone doing a great job over here with his cultist. He gets the cultist on top of the Sisters of Avalorn and is going to be dropping a Bloodletter Summon directly on them, if I'm not mistaken, or behind them. So shutting down those high-value missiles, which could easily push us off the point, is certainly quite important, as Moose Lord is certainly getting a little bit of DACA in there. And back on the other side, a messy fight. Chosen of Nurgle being attacked by a Phoenix as well as these Ripperdactyls, but I do get my Marauder Horsemen in there with their throwing axes. They're doing good work. And the Chad Chaos Knights of Nurgle getting in and plowing over these Salamanders. So the Salamanders here are going to be getting absolutely annihilated. And yeah, honestly, I like the Chaos Knights in a 2v2. Like, where they can kind of just roam and serve as a sweeper unit, because in 2v2 there's a lot more units all over the battlefield, so having like a sweeper, just hammer piece, to be able to kind of lift these type of pressures, I think is quite nice. Soul Grinder moving in and fighting with the Marauder Horsemen of Nurgle. We do see Colossadon Hunters moving in, but the Chosen are able to survive, and now we have an opportunity to push the back point. as the Festering Stooge is proving why they're one of the why they're one of the best here. Festering Stooge is, of course, grinding down these spearmen. And on the other side, we do have some Chaos Warriors. Still, I mean, despite being rear charged by Fireborn, they're still beating these SARs. Nurgle does infantry well. I think Nurgle is a very, very good 2v2 ally, but in 1v1, they're obviously quite weak because their roster is limited in terms of what it can do with some weak units. But in 2v2, they really shine. I think Nurgle's a great ally. So, Chaos Warriors battling against the SARs, able to break it. Festering Stooges breaking through the line of spears. And honestly, these Festering Stooges probably could beat these white lines of Krace. And the remnants of the Chosen of Nurgle do make it up onto the back point. Now these Great Open Boys are going to crush these white lines backed up by the Festering Stooges. Now back to this messy fight here. We were able to take it over. I do have healing elixirs on, so just constant healing going down. And Mortis Engines backed up by the Cultists here. Stream of Corruption up on the high ground. And yeah, the Cultists as well as the Plague Bearers still getting that bump and grind. You'll notice that my damage value is kind of creeping up. It's still not as high as Pwn Dogs, but that's kind of how Nurgle plays. You start off slow, but as the game goes, you'll notice a lot of Cornate units start to disappear. But Nurgle's like what kind of like keeps you going in the late game. But man, Skarbrand, I think, was hands down one of the big value pieces of this game. The fact that he fought those big monsters and kept Festus from dying, he was just an absolute raid boss. But over here, looks like this objective's going to be flipping. We do get the dreaded triple cap right here. We see the Banana Salon coming in, as well as the Mage of Fire. Cornate Warriors, Marauders up on the point. Festus providing healing and Mortis Engine effects. And Pwn sending in more Chaos Warriors just to kind of secure the point right here. Yeah, I'm Sheev Palpatine. Yes, that is the name that I usually play under, which is pretty fun. So hopefully you guys could have guessed that. More little gremlins moving up on the point. There's going to be some skink cohorts. Chaos Knights of Nurgle fighting, but going to get annihilated by the Clawsedon Hunters. But they're sitting at 1,200 value, which isn't bad. They've almost paid for themselves, and they did take down a Razordon pack or a Salamander pack, which was big value, because that would have been able to really, really nuke a lot of my Nurgle infantry here, especially the Festering Stooges and those like lightly armored pieces. So we do get the triple cap here. Soul Grinder's still very much alive. Festus holding it down. Imrik has come back for round 2, so Imrik came back in. They resummoned him. I was like, oh god, run for the hills! So Festus is going to be fleeing the scene, but he's got his 2 cultist homies here. So I think like Festus and the 2 cultists could put up an okay fight. They would probably lose against Imrik, depending on the charge that he does get. But Professor Pwn probably can summon in some Minotaurs or some sort of a reinforcement piece to help us buffer off here. Breath Attack going in does melt some of the Chaos Warriors, but back objective, it looks like we're slowly losing this one. But you're seeing the power of the Festering Stooges. These guys are just absolute linebackers. Sitting at 158 kills, 2,200 value on the Stooges, guys. They've been grinding on this point, and they're honestly doing good damage against his Phoenix. I remember when we were playing this game, Pwn and I were talking in Discord, and we were like, how the hell did we kill that Phoenix? Like, we looked at the Phoenix at the end of the game, and it was like on death's bed, but the Festering Stooges do have, weapon strength close to 50. When they're not poisoned, I believe it's just over 50. How the hell are they even poisoned right now? Ah, the Javelin's over here. But they were able to beat down that Flamesphere Phoenix, unsummoning the Chaos Warriors. Nurgling sitting on the back point, and even if we do start to lose points, we are on a single win right now, so they would have to triple cap us. So at this point, it's going to be pretty bleak for the forces of Moose Lord and Leech Lord. It looks like the Scourge of Chaos is going to be falling to the forces of Chaos. As Walking Haggard, Professor Pwn and I are going to be getting out of the first round. Last week we played Empire and Cathay, and this combo that we played seems a lot stronger and a lot easier to pilot. So there you go. GG, well played. Game 1 in today's tournament, ladies and gentlemen. Let's break down the value, and I know what you want to see. You want to see that sweet, sweet Skarbrand value. I love like big hard carry characters like that getting access to healing. It's so much fun. So yeah, pretty mouth-breathing combo for my part. Just, SEs and then just swarming with infantry. Marauder Horsemen were super MVP. 1,600, 1,700, 900. Chosen of Nurgle, guys, got almost 2,000 of value. Elite units in 2v2 are way better. In 1v1, they're much easier to isolate, but elite units in 2v2 actually have some shine. I mean, look at this. High performance, high performance. Chaos Knights didn't do bad either. So, I mean, you can see a lot of the elite units performing very well in 2v2s. For Professor Pwn, Skarbrand got 4,000 value, so he's certainly exceeded his cost, 100%. We do have some Cultists of Khorne, 1,700, great value here, 900 on the other one. And for the rest of his troopers, we do see Fleshhounds. Some of them did okay. His Minotaurs also did quite good. 2,700 on these ones. These were the first ones that came in that helped fight the Dread Saurian. And for our opponent's team, well played to Moose Lord and Leech Lord. Hope to see their epic alliance back. 1,700 here. Imrik, he kind of got, despite getting caught early, Imrik did very, very well. And looking on the other reinforcements, Fireborn kind of got shut down, didn't get too much value. The Dread Saurian, guys, look at that. Dude, the dreaded Dread Saurian with 5,000 value. So he's worth pumping that healing into, much like Skarbrand, right? Over here on the other side, the Ripperdactyls were some of the best units that they did have. It was a really, really good game. Well played to our opponents. Let's go to the bracket and make it official. So we will be moving and advancing on. So that's going to be marked Chaos going. We'll be facing the winner of the Ogre Mercenaries and Chaos Undivided. So We're going to go ahead and fire up one of those replays here in just a hot moment. Let me just delete that one and have a sip of my tea, and we'll keep it going. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. This is the Grand Alliances format. I think it's one of my new favorite formats to do. Domination, I feel, really, really shines in 2v2. I feel like it's a great format. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get the scorecards all set up here. So this team is going to be, I think it's called Peasants Undivided. It's funny because these two teams that ended up playing, they both had peasants in their name, so it got a little bit confusing. So, Peasants My Lord. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so Peasants My Lord versus Peasants Undivided. Although only one team truly has peasants on it, which is funny. Peasants Undivided. I love it. The Elves vs. Undead is coming. Yeah, we're doing every single one of these games that you see here today. All of them are going to be casted, so if you're not. Hello, this is Bear says, I predict a Chaos Undivided win and a Festus chin slapping. All right, we'll see. Let's get an evening 2v2 tournament US time soon. The next one I'm going to do for 2v2 is going to be taking place on the weekend. So regardless of what time zone you're in, it'll be like early on a Saturday or Sunday. So everyone will be able to play and hopefully we can go from there. We checked out the Darktide OST. I haven't, no, but I'll check that out. Thank you. Peasants Undivided, yeah, that's going to be it. So the teams for this one is the Bretonnian and Ogre team is going to be Sandwich and Subutai facing off against Crave and VA. VA, I think is the name. Yeah, perfect. So we have a Skaven and Warriors of Chaos facing off against Ogres and Bretonnia. Should be quite a bit of fun. No, this is not live because 2v2, unfortunately, Creative Assembly doesn't give us dedicated servers. So we have to do 2v2s offline and do them via replays because it's too laggy otherwise. You don't really have you often don't, we didn't have much lag in this event when it comes to just the games we played. But if you do bring in a caster and have a fifth person in the lobby, I find that it just causes too much lag. So this is the best way to do it. No, these games are not live. The tournament was played 2 days ago. Yeah, it was played 2 days ago. That's some good tea right there, man. That's the good stuff. So it's going to be Bretonnia and Ogre Kingdoms versus Skaven and Warriors of Chaos. So Bretonnia, the Fey Enchantress, talks some Ogres into helping, and Ogres are down for it, man. I mean, if you pay them the right price, offer them the right food, perhaps Bretonnia entice them, like I said earlier, with some wine, or perhaps the enticement of some Skaven. We'll have to see. So for the forces of the RTK team, it is going to be Sandwich and Subutai. So let's go ahead and check it out. For Bretonnia, going to be coming in with Foot Squires to battle the Chaos Infantry. We do have Greasus Goldtooth. Dude, what is with Greasus making a comeback? Like, I feel like people, he's obviously a meme, but I don't know, maybe he's starting to not become a meme. He's like a bit of a presence. So we do have Greasus Goldtooth. Sky Strider, so the Flying Taco combo. Flying Taco is the OG of making these units work. So on the other side, we do have the Butcher of the Great Maw, as well as Noblar Trappers. And on the backside, we have the Green Knight, Henri La Massif, as well as the Fey Enchantress. So Bretonnia bringing the Infantry Corps, Blessed Trebuchets, and obviously they're going to be bringing in a ton of Cav and different things like that. Noblar Trappers, and that is pretty much it. On the other side, for the forces of Chaos Undivided, it's going to be a Skaven and Warriors of Chaos combo, which has proved to be one of the strongest combos that we've kind of had so far. But interestingly enough, this combo has not made it, at least in the last event. We had 2 or 3, and I don't think any of them made it to the semifinals. I'm not sure. We'll see if they can do it today. So we got Sigvald, we got a Deathcaster, Warplock Jazales, Ikid Zap Cannon, Chieftain, Globadiers, and basically just a bunch of Chaos Infantry. So that makes sense. One of the best things that Skaven can do is just mass infantry, right? And on the backside, or that Chaos can do is mass infantry, and then Skaven bringing in the support and shooting pieces and all that different stuff is quite good for sure. So we do a little bit of fast forwarding. 2 armies going to be posturing up. Noblar Trappers and Ogre Bulls going to be swarming on the point. Fey Enchantress, as well as the Green Knight and Henri La Massif, certainly very tough characters to deal with. But look at that, beautiful stuff. Green Knight getting blasted by the Zap Cannon. So too does the Fey Enchantress. So talk about a really good opening for the Skaven and the Warriors of Chaos. Also, it looks like there was a Spirit Leech going down. So Subutai's Bretonnian character core did kind of get blasted in the face a little bit as well. And don't worry, there will be no spoilers in chat. The only people who really know who won this event are, of course, going to be the players, and they will not spoil it. So you should be all good, my friend. Why does Greasus do magic damage? Well, he wields a magic weapon. He's wielding some ancient scepter of the Sky Titans, which apparently is a legendary magic weapon. So that's why he does magic damage. I would guess that. So Marauder's going to be pulling back, and the Skaven and Warriors of Chaos going to be doing a bit of a mid lane push. So instead of going for Objective 2, where Greasus is sitting and the Fey Enchantress Goon Squad, it looks like the Skaven and Warriors of Chaos are going to be pushing right down the pipe. But Bretonnian Cav have come out. We got Questing Knights and Lance Formation going to be plowing through some of these filthy heretics. Big charge right there, and those Marauders do get wrecked. And yeah, their charge bonus on Questing Knights goes up to 57, which is really, really high for a Great Weapon Cav unit. And it looks like Subutai taking some notes out of the True Bretonians book, as he gets these really, really nice lance charges, just bouncing around between infantry while the Noblar Trappers kind of soften them up. Blessed Trebuchets in the backfield for the Forces of the Lady are doing great work. So we do have the Blessed Trebs, and they're hammering down the Skaven artillery, and they should actually be able to win that duel. Although the Questing Knights are getting shot by Jezzail, so we do see some really good focus fire here by Crave. So Crave getting the Jezzails, Natty Boob with Sharpshooters to put some hurt on the Questing Knights, so that's a very, very good play as well. Sigvald has also gotten into the front line, but the thing is, this Bretonnia front line is not weak by any stretch of the imagination. They have Foot Squires backed up by the Grail Relique. They got Fanchanters, Green Knight coming in, and the Ogres are coming to get you. There is going to be a massive Ogre Legion coming in. Ogre Bulls, Iron Fists, just all sorts of infantry looking to counter-push the overextending Chaos. And I can't help but think maybe Chaos overextended a little bit too deeply into the enemy supply lines, and they're going to get kind of blitzed and pushed back. Because their opponents do have a double cap right now. This objective is certainly much safer to go for, I think, but we'll have to see how the strategy works out. So Poison Wing Globadiers getting a nice little shot here. We do see a Flensing Rune going down as well, so Flensing Rune casted on the Faenchantress. Faenchantress does have a pretty substantial amount of magic resist, though. She has 60%, so she's actually not a very good target for Flensing Rune. You probably want to be targeting the Ogre blobs like Greasus and these Ogre Bulls here, but nonetheless, the Flensing Rune does go down on the Faenchantress, and it might actually hit the Green Knight as well. So it looks like the Bretonians and the Ogre Kingdoms are holding back the tide of chaos here. Noblar Trappers kind of chewing away at them. The Faenchantress Mortis Engine doing her thing. And we do see a Chieftain trying to do battle here, but the Faenchantress is backed up by Henri Lamassif, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like he is nearby in the Green Knight, so there is terror. And Foot Squires will trade very, very well into Chaos Warrior Halberds. Now, in the meantime, it's Greason time over here, guys. The Bull's pushing and really, really just running through the forces of Chaos. Although you can see the damage value does favor the forces of Chaos on Skaven. I mean, the shooting is definitely doing quite a bit of work, but now it's the time for the counter push as the Ogres do get into the backfield. So the Ogres are just now kind of pulling the trigger. We get some Ogre Bulls with dual weapons back here with a Massacre on, so they're on top of the Sharpshooters, and I believe there's some Ogre Bull units still trying to push through, but it looks like Warriors of Chaos here are doing a very good job blunting the Ogre charge using the Halberds right here. So the Halberds able to hold back that first wave of Ogres, but a second wave of Ogres, a second helping of Ogres, going to be jumping on these Jezzails. And back here, we get the Sky Striders on the flank. It looks like they were intercepted by some Hellstriders, but the thing about Sky Striders is they have 120 armor, so Hellstriders do basically nothing against them, and they are thick, and they are super angry. Adam, thank you for the $20 beers with the boys while watching the Old War 2v2. Hey man, I'm glad to hear it. Hope you guys are having a good time there, and the battle continues on in your honor. So Sky Striders continue to crump down, and it looks like the backfield of the Skaven is being heavily compromised. And this is where the momentum of the battle can certainly start to shift, as it seems like the Chaos Army doesn't have like a ton of mass outside of a couple Rat Ogres to stop things like the Sky Striders in the backfield. So Warplock Jezzails getting killed outright. And we do see some Council Guard coming in, but Council Guard are going to have trouble keeping pace with these mobile Ogre units. Of course, if they get caught in like a saturated fight, they can do well. Very, very good cast there by our Skaven player. So Crave with a beautiful cast, going to be getting a Flensing Rune down. And it does hit the Ogre Bulls, it's the Sky Striders, hit several units, and now we do see the Council Guard moving in. Now, is there any threat on the side objective? It doesn't look like it. Looks like the side objective is actually going to be completely abandoned. The entire fight is basically just like a giant land battle over here. So the Faenchantress is doing pretty well with the Grail Relique and the Green Knight. The Green Knight is actually killing Sigvald. So the Green Knight, if you guys don't know this, ethereal units in Total War Warhammer, ghostly units, they have 100% armor piercing because their blades, much like in the Return to the King, kind of just insta-kill the units, right? Pierces through their armor. So the Green Knight was putting some big hurt on Prince Sigvald there. Sigvald does not do magic damage either. And the Warriors of Chaos still have a decent amount of units, but the double cap is being maintained. Looking at the combined value, we do see 5-7 and 4-6. So far, the Warriors of Chaos and Skaven are slightly out-damaging the armies of Bretonnia and the Ogres. But the thing is, there's a lot of healing going down, right? So the Ogres and the Bretonians have a ton of healing, and the Skaven and Warriors of Chaos don't. So there's been Butchers going down, there's been Troll Guts, we've had the Faenchantress with Earthbloods. So that healing will probably mitigate that advantage, as the Sky Striders continue to just pull through the backfield here and cause massive havoc. I mean, these things are just rampaging, and honestly, it looks like the Skaven Halberds simply can't keep up with them. Now, is there something going to the side point? We do see the Council Guard moving over here. I do like this play from the Skaven and Warriors of Chaos. It's going to be a reasonably difficult unit to push off the point, so just kind of sit the Council Guard here, maybe send some buffering spears, and you're going to be living a pretty good life here. Ogres bouncing out, going after the Wolf Rats, might be able to break him. But now it looks like the counter momentum is coming. Faenchantress moving it up. Green Knight still hunting, getting terror routes. Plenty of Foot Squires able to grind through these Poison Wing Globadiers and the remnants of the Chaos Infantry. We also have the double Noblar Trappers moving up, and they're kind of encroaching on the home objective of Chaos Undivided. Chaos could potentially lose this objective, we'll have to see. The Enchantress over here, going to be supporting the Green Knight as Gilles, the Ancient King of Bretonnia, is going to be trying to take the beating to see the old boy Sigvald here. Sigvald's an unholy pain to deal with, but we'll see if they're going to be able to get the job done. On the other objective here, Skaven have taken it, so the Council Guard have done it. And at this point, you know, if Chaos and Skaven can hold that for the rest of the game, they would win, for sure. They can win on a 2-cap. But we do see Man-Eaters with great weapons coming in. Interesting. So these are anti-large armored piercing, but I'm trying to think of the applications of the great weapons against the Skaven and Warriors of Chaos. They're mostly infantry focused. Oh my god, massive Chalice of Potions going down. Huge Erect Chalice. Brings these guys down to like 45%. Beautiful cast there by Subutai. That was nasty, dude. That feels really, really bad for those Council Guard. Now, are the Man-Eaters going to charge in and fight them? I feel like they would lose this fight against the Council Guard, even at this point. We do see the Clan Rat Spears fighting off the Ogre Bulls, and yeah, good awareness. You can see the Blessed Field Trebuchets from Subutai going to be switching onto the Council Guard, wearing them down, and eventually allowing the Ogres to win that fight. Sigvald not quite able to carry here. Bretonnian Knights surging out, going to be lancing into the Throthia Unclean. Oh, so the Skaven do have the mighty Mutant Lord here, so he's going to be fighting on his mount. But the Knights of the Realm will trade very well into him. He's surrounded by Noblar Chappers as well. And the Green Knight's coming for that booty while Greasus Goldtooth is getting Spirit Leeched. Who would have thought that anybody would put any effort in killing Greasus? I certainly think that's a mistake, but Greasus going to be taking the fight to this Warlock Engineer, and he should be able to win that fight. I mean, Greasus hits very hard. He's got over 500 weapons rank there. But Throth being surrounded is pretty tough. He does have Remoldered active, but we do have the Green Knight on top of him. Sigvald, and this is a really good play as well. Just tar pit Sigvald in like crappy chaff units and, you know, do your thing and hope that he isn't able to make much progress. But the Ogres in Bretonnia making, I would say they're making grounds. Side objective is going to be retaken here. It looks like the Council Guard are just getting overwhelmed. Man-Eaters, Questing Knights, Crushers with great weapons, Foot Squires moving in. The side objective is going to be reclaimed by Sandwich and Subutai, so the Ogres in Bretonnia are going to get it. And Chaos Undivided looks like they're starting to hunker down on their back objective a little bit, but I think the healing and perpetual pressure of these like characters from the Fey Enchantress and Green Knight and just like the pure raw damage output that we're seeing from Sandwich's Ogres is really, really starting to pay huge dividends. The Sky Striders probably have a ton of value as well. Let's go ahead and see. So they're at 2,300. The Man-Eater Great Weapons obviously don't want to be fighting Council Guard, but if they have support from Infantry and Bretonnian Cav just sandwiching, sandwiching, that's right, going to be good. And any reinforcements that come in, I mean, these Ogre Sweeper units are very tough to remove. We've only got 200 value, but anything you send in is just probably going to get crushed. I mean, Chaos could send Halberds in, but the Halberds get targeted by the Trebuchets, which is a really, really nice synergy. And over on the other side, we do see more Trebuchets coming in. I think it's only a matter of time before Sandwich and Subutai are able to Mortis Engine their way through this blob and maybe recapture this. Are they actually going to be trying to kill Sigvald? I'm not sure. Grail Relique. Look at the dreaded Grail Relique Noblar combo. So these Noblars are getting plus 16 leadership from the Grail Relique, which is pretty hilarious. Or plus 20, excuse me. Is it plus 20? It says plus 12. It said they were inspired by an ability, so nonetheless, they're going to be getting a huge leadership buff. You can see even in their very beleaguered state, they're sitting at like almost 40 leadership, which is pretty crazy. Ogre Cav coming in. Skaven do summon in some weapons teams, and we do see some Chaos Warriors with Halberds coming out. Ogre Bulls in the backfield kind of just distracting them a little bit, and anything that comes out is basically just going to be getting rode down. And this objective probably will be flipping for the big Chungus Kingdoms, and we'll probably see a triple cap here in this game. Yeah, Greasus has been getting healed. He's been getting Troll Guts, he's been getting Earth Bloods, all sorts of stuff like that. Looks like there's going to be some Wolf Rats coming out with the Chieftain, but these are all things that the Crushers with Great Weapons are going to be good against. So Crushers are pretty elite. They don't mess around. So, yep, battling into the Rats. Rats, oh my god, look how much damage those Wolf Rats took. And like all these units here, Sky Striders, Chaos Warhounds, Wolf Rats, Chieftain, like these single Crusher unit is probably going to be able to trade pretty well against all those units, and not too bad. Forza Lady! Yeah, it looks like you're getting your wishes. Bretonnia and the Ogre Kingdom still pushing. The big Grease Man. How much value does Greasus have? I bet you he's got like 1,300. Let's check. And, oh wow, only 500. Okay, Greasus living up to his name, not getting past 500 value. Oh no, Greasus! He's being hunted by Sigvald! Looks like oh, look at that! The Saber Show's coming in for the rescue! Greasus going to be rolling, blasting some Limp Biscuit from his... Oh, he got unsummoned! The Greasus, the Slick Grease plays. That is going to be a triple cap, ladies and gentlemen, and the odds are looking pretty bleak here. The Crushers back here trading super well, eventually being overwhelmed, but holding back a massive, massive portion of units, but more Ogres and Halberds moving up onto the point. Fey Enchantress is quite healthy. Knights of the Realm chasing down this Chaos Caster, and at the end of the day, I don't think there's going to be much of a chance for a comeback here, as we do see the forces of Chaos Undivided being overwhelmed by the Ogre Mercenaries combo. It seems like Ogres are a very, very good ally. Amazing capture weight. They provide really good healing to your teammate. They also give you really good mass to kind of prevent things from being gooned. So it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point, so we're going to be doing a little bit of fast forwarding. But yeah, you can see Chaos can't even escape their deployment zone. The Ogres are basically just sweeping through the backfield, so are the Bretonnian Knights, hunting down anything of value, any of the weapons teams, Fey Enchanters, dropping Mortis Engines. And that is going to be a victory for the Ogre Mercenaries, ladies and gentlemen. GG, well played. Greasus did his job. He was too greasy and he slipped away, exactly. I agree. So looking here, ladies and gentlemen, Fey Enchantress, a beast as always. Green Knight with 2,700. So Green Knight was obviously hunting down many, many high-value pieces. Henri La Massif did good. Over here, Man-Eaters with 1,600. Sandwich Sky Striders, 4,000 Sky Striders. Dude, I love that Flying Taco made those meta, and they're just like so good also. It's awesome. Subutai looking very solid here. Both players shared the load well. It was good teamwork. You know, you could see the teamwork being illustrated, right? You saw the Council Guard threatening the Ogres, and immediately the Ogre player, Sandwich, called to his ally Subutai and is like, hey, I need your Trebs on those right away to loosen up that point. Trebuchet switch over, and the heavy cav come in and clean them up once they're softened up. It was great. Very good stuff. So here we do have the Rats. They did the Skaven unsummoning trick. And yeah, it's a classic 2v2 combo. Skaven weapons teams backed up by, Chaos Infantry. My only concern is that I think you need more Hellstriders and more, because they did really good. I think 4 Hellstriders would have been the way. He had some Chosen and Nurgle, which actually got 1,700 value, but it seemed they didn't have enough mass to protect from the Ogres and Bretonnian Cav. Like the Ogre and Bretonnian Cavalry really got into the backfield and did some nasty, nasty stuff. So I think if the Chaos team had brought more mass, like more anti-Ogre mass, more anti-Bretonnian, like, I don't know, maybe some Armored Chaos Trolls could have been really, really good, I think, and also more Hellstriders, maybe even some Chaos Spawn. They needed to protect the Skaven weapons teams a little bit better because they just got compromised early, and I think that was the deciding factor. So let's go here. And the Ogre Mercenaries are going to be facing off against Professor Ponenai in the next round. Grease is taken to Poundland. Yes, he was. He was. Got some good discounts over at Poundland. Or is it Pound Stretcher? I can't remember what it's called over in the UK. But let us see. It is next Elves vs. Undead. So we're going to do Elves vs. Undead first. And then we have an Order Tide Civil War to see how that is going to be unfolding here. Yeah, the Globadiers in this matchup they're not bad. I think they're good because they're good against Bretonnian Cav and against their infantry. I think having 2 globes in your army is probably a worthy inclusion for those guys. All right. So let me go ahead and delete that game to make sure we don't cast that one again. Where is that? So that's going to be the Peasants versus the Peasants. Thank you all for joining today. Adam. And again, thank you for the donation, my friend. I greatly appreciate it. Means a lot. All right. So next up, we are going to be doing the... So this is the Witch Kings, which is the Elves. It's going to be Dark Elves, High Elves against Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings, which is our returning Korean defenders from the previous tournament, the defending champs. It's a slightly different comp. They have True Bretonnian isn't playing. Takoyaki's taking over. I believe they're both Korean players though as well. So I am not 100% sure. All right, so let me get the team names from these folks and make sure I have those up on the old scoreboard. Total War, not Tila. Okay, interesting. I don't know what that stands for, but that will be fine. Let me see here, and looking good. Total War. No. And they're facing off against Witch Kings. Alrighty, so loading into the replay. All the first round maps are on the same one, although I might change it next time. Someone needs to remind me to do that, to give it different maps. Poison Wind Mortars are not bad. No, Poison Wind Mortars are okay in multiplayer, especially one of the units that has, like, I found to be super devastating in 2v2 is the Avalanche Mortars, because they just, like, thump, dude, and there's so many good targets for them. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Now, normally Elves are actually quite good against Undead in 1v1, or at least they used to be in land battles, but I still think Undead are very, very strong. Very strong. And you have to remember, like, the players who are also playing the Undead happen to be absolutely terrifying, like, high micro, top leaderboard players as well. So we'll see how this all unfolds. We will see. We will see. Orkward. It's pretty funny, Christian. Nice. I like that one. Yeah, Poison Wind, the Avalanche Mortars, I think, are really good. They're really, really good. Pwn, we should try that combo sometime. We should try, like, Skaven and someone. I think it'd be fun. All right, guys. Switching on over. It is going to be the Witch Kings versus Total War. We'll just call them Total War for sure. For sure. So we have the Undead Alliance. It's going to be a Lich Priest of Nakara for the Lord. Just going to be spamming the Lord passive. Now, the reason why this combo is so strong is because the Restless Dead ability, every single time a Tomb King's caster casts a spell, it heals their entire army for 1.4% of their HP. But the crazy strong part about this is it heals all undead, including undead allies. So if you're allied with Vampire Coast, if you're allied with the Vampire Counts, it's going to be healing everyone up as well. So it's incredibly nasty. In the backfield, we got Screaming Skull Catapults. We have a Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone. And yeah, basically just Vampire Counts frontline, Grave Guard, and, sustainable units who shot the Grapos, some catapults, giving the Vampire Counts the range that they're so sorely missing. On the other side, what do we have? We have the Witch King, so it's going to be Malekith and Imrik teaming up. Malekith, Imrik, we do have a Frostheart Phoenix, we got a Mage of Life. In the backfield, Lothern Seaguard, backed up by Bleak Swords, a couple Scourge Runner Chariots. Very, very cool. We're seeing the elves bringing the family back together once again. So they put aside their differences, and the two elves going to be trying to shut down the undead. They want to take the undead out so they can fight each other happily and, just kind of enjoy their blissful coexistence that they've always had here. Yeah, Wood Elves are pretty good against undead when they have a teammate. Like we saw in the last tournament, we saw Kark, who's playing right now. You can see Kark is playing Vampire Counts. Takoyaki is going to be on Tomb Kings, Vajasa on the High Elves, and Ghoul Baby on the Dark Elves here. But we saw Kark using Wood Elves and basically just using Way Watchers, like 3 or 4 Way Watchers every game and just nuking things down, which was very, very effective for sure. Very, very effective. Yeah, so somebody in chat asking, yes, the Undead combo is very strong, but it lost in the last tournament. And it was defeated. And it's also been defeated in a ton of our practice games, so even though it's a very strong combo, it can totally be beaten. There's a ton of strong combos in 2v2 format. There's a ton. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. Scourge Runner Chariots blasting in with their ballistas into the Ushabti Greatbow. Here we do see the Vampire Counts moving over to the side points of the Grave Guard looking to move in. The Lords are going to be Lich Priest as well as the Tomb Prince. So those are going to be the characters that we are seeing rocked there. And where's Imrik going? Imrik and the Phoenix looking like they want to dive in the backfield, but we do see some Necropolis Knights summoned out. Necropolis Knights, these are not the anti-large variant, they're the shielded variant. So Imrik and the Phoenix could probably beat them down pretty good, but you don't want to get trapped up there, especially without healing. Scourge Runner Chariots trying to use their ballistas to shoot at the characters, which is a mistake. Right now, Ghoul Baby should be using the ballistas to shoot at the Ushabti Greatbows. Screaming Skull Catapults doing some really good damage into the archers. And now Malekith the Witch King actually finds a little bit of a prize. He does find 2 White Kings unsupported. And, with consistent attacks, he should be able to bring down these characters. We'll have to see. Definitely bringing the Phoenixes over would be quite helpful. Although we could see a throw in the backfield potentially. It looks like the Elves did come back here. We see Fajasa landing. But the Necropolis Knights and the Crypt Horrors are able to hunt them down. And if Imrik and the Phoenix get trapped and or killed in the backfield, that would probably seal the deal for this game. That would just be doom and gloom for the Elves, I think. So far, Undead holding on to 2 objectives. Scourge Runner Chariot's going to be getting into melee, trying to run over some of the Grave Guard, but not doing too much damage, and it looks like they're not really cycle charging too much, mainly staying in combat. A couple Dark Shards would be good, but we do have Lothern Seaguard as well as some Blackheart Corsairs coming out. Corsairs will not do good against Grave Guard, but they're pretty good at sustaining against like zombies and chaff. Now, Imrik is trapped up, and it looks like he decides to stay the course. The Phoenix is going to be getting away. And do we see any healing coming down? Man, Imrik is getting absolutely smashed in the backfield. He needs to certainly take off and run here as we see his HP is at 3,800. He does get an Earth Blood, so it looks like a little bit of healing was able to reach him. But losing, a 3,000 plus gold character this early on in the game is going to be incredibly bleak. So Imrik going to be running for the hills. We do have some Silver Helms coming into the rescue and the Mage of Life coming around the bend. Only Earthblood though, and the Frostheart Phoenix also going to be coming in to help. So Imrik might barely survive here. With the Silver Helms arriving to attack the Necropolis Knights, it may allow him to survive. As now the Phoenix going to be attacking the Blood Dragon Lord up in the sky. But this is a very, very tough start. On the front line, Malekith got a little bit beat up. I think the Ushabti Greatbows hammered him down, so we do see the Undead with the Chosen of the Gods, and the Ushabti Greatbows putting a ton of hurt on the Witch King here, as it looks like the Elves are being kind of routed here by the mass ranged. Over on the side objective, we have a big Royal Rumble. Blackheart Corsairs moving in, Scourge Runner Chariots. What they really need is a couple Dark Shards. If we can get like 1 or 2 Dark Shards right here, they would basically kill the entire Undead army. They would kill the Corpse Guards, they would kill the Sternsmen, they would kill the Grave Guard. They would take care of all those bad boys and certainly do some very, very good work. So Imrik does get routed off the edge of the battlefield. So Imrik is indeed gone. Silver Helms are sacrificed, and it looks like the Undead are simply, winning the game with the micro. They're getting the better engagements. I think both armies were actually quite good. I think the Elves had some good tools here, but it's looking like the Undead are basically just outplaying and out-microing here. And granted, this flank fight isn't bad, and it looks like the Elves do take over the double objective. But without Imrik and losing those Silver Helms on a lot of units on the side objective there for very little gain, you're going to start seeing potential momentum shifts on other sides of the battlefield, right? Lothern Seaguard shooting in, blasting into the Cryptors. Very, very good target priority. And the Elves actually trading quite well here. You can see the Sternsmen are pretty much the last bastion of the undead. Scourge Runner Chariots sitting nearby with their ballistas and shooting into the Cryptors here. The Witch King is doing okay. I mean, he's holding on. He does get a nice little breath attack right there, but he is getting Ushopti Greatboat into the Shadow Realm. I'm surprised we didn't see the Elves bring bolt throwers. I feel as if bolt throwers, like 2 or 3 bolt throwers, would be super good against the undead. They would counter the great bows. They could potentially range down the Screaming Skull catapults. Malekith, the Witch King, is forced back, and it's only a matter of time before the undead start to overwhelm this objective. Especially when the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord returns, when Palpatine returns here, it's going to get very scary, because he hasn't been involved in the mainline battles. He was over killing Imric. We see a little bit of a flank collapse coming in, so Necropolis Knights, Cryptors, and Tomb Guard moving up. As far as the Elves, they do have some Blackheart Corsairs here. The Pure Main Company is actually quite good, but Catapult's bombarding into those guys. And yeah, Malekith's basically on death's bed. He's at 1,000 HP here. And if the Dark Elves lose their Lord, that's going to be really, really tough. So currently we have 6.8 and 4.7. Massive value lead against the Elven Alliance. And again, a lot of it just comes down to the Lords dying. I think that the Elven Alliance is completely capable of beating the Undead. As a matter of fact, I think they have some really good tools for it. But yeah, having both your Lords die within 5 or 6 minutes of the battle is going to be very tough. Whereas the Undead haven't really taken any substantial casualties outside of like chaff units. This objective owned by the Elves, this one also owned by the Elves. So they are holding on to the 2 points, and they don't have much of a value lead, though. They were behind in the beginning, so they're just now catching up. And I think the Undead are going to start getting some momentum back as you see the Ushopti Greatbow moving up, going to be shooting into the Blackheart Corsairs, I would imagine. More and more Tomb Guard coming in, so big capture weight. We got zombies, we got Fellbats coming out. Going to be quite a bit of pressure. In the backfield, the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord with Heart Piercing. I'm not sure what he was going after. It looks like he's trying to shut down the Lothern Seaguard, but he seems to be taking a little bit of damage. In the backfield, we do see Lothern Seaguard shooting into the Skeleton Warriors, some of the chaff units. Necropolis Knights with a nice rear charge, so the Undead starting to really punish the Elves in their deployment zone, which is going to be pretty bleak for sure. Something got caught in my throat there, jeez. This objective looks like it's starting to flip a little bit. We do see the Undead starting to pull it back. The Double White Kings, the Cryptors, the Tomb Guard up in the point, of course, going to be providing some pretty good sustainable capture weight. The Undead also are really good at stealing points because of the catapults. They have a leadership discouraging effect, so if you can just shoot into a blob, it will tank the leadership of enemies, and that's got to feel pretty good for you. So we're about to see the capture weight flip. The Undead bringing in the hammer. They do have the Mortis Engine, so the Mortis Engine is going to be able to clean off all these infantry units that the Elves have, and it will probably be a triple cap here in just a second. As the zombies move in, we do see some Nehekar horsemen screaming around the side. Now, is there any comeback modalities for the Elves? I really don't think so. Now, if the Undead players were lesser players, maybe there could be some blunders where they could throw. But the thing is, Kark and Takoyaki are both super high-level players. Kark, I think, is number 1 or 2 on the total tavern leaderboard in tournament play. I think Takoyaki is somewhere in the top 20 as well. A very strong player. So it's going to be hard to catch them making colossal mistakes. And Undead are not easy to come back against because they're already healing a ton, so they're like a slow grind that just compounds this advantage against you, and you start to really have a problem. Mortis Engine clearing it out. It's going to be a triple cap. Ladies and gentlemen, we can do a little bit of fast forwarding now because this game is most certainly, I think, a foregone conclusion. We see the Undead basically routing the Elves on every front. Back here, we see some Elves moving in, and a couple Elves here trying their best. Some Cold Moon Knights coming out, but they're not going to be able to do anything against the hordes of Undead. Ushopti Greatbow is going to pick them apart. We can do some what I like to call auction house commentary, but the players know it as well, and they do tap out. GG, well played. Fun game, quick game, very one-sided, but nonetheless, the Lord got caught. I think if the Elven Lord hadn't been Shadow Realms in the back and the Phoenix, they could have played it a little bit safer. I think the Elves totally could have won the game. It would have just needed some better engagements, but GG, well played, and that is going to be the dreaded Undead advancing on, ladies and gentlemen. Don't need to look at value too much. There was nothing that was like really stood out. But overall, had Malekith too, by the way. Malekith only got 600 value as well. So that is going to be the end of the road. All right, so going to the bracket. Let's go ahead and check it out here. It is going to be the Undead advancing on to face the winners of the Order Tide Civil War. So it's going to be the Eastern Order Tide, which I believe is Lizardmen and... I think it's Lizardmen and High Elves versus Dwarves and Empire. So pretty fun army combos for sure. I'm excited to see that. Ushopti Greatbows are very good, but Elves have really solid counters to them. If they just bring in a couple of bolt throwers, if you bring 2 or 3 Reaper bolt throwers or the High Elf variants, you can kill Ushopti Greatbows easy. They're just gonna get shut down, 100%. Elves have the tools, in my opinion, to beat the Undead. Scourge Runner Chariots aren't bad. I'm not a huge fan of them though in like this 2v2 format. I think they're like with Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings can counter the Scourge Runners too easily with their cav. So I think you just would want to go like Dark Shards and Bolt Throwers and those type of things. And for the High Elf army, I like the Goon Squad. I don't hate it. Lothar and Seaguard are a very good unit as well. They're decent against the undead factions, but not so much against Tomb Kings. I think a lot of it was like build stuff. Yeah, they need to go back to the drawing board there as well. All right, guys. So let's get the next one set up. GG, well played there. Let's go ahead and switch this up. And all right. So we got one more round of 8 game left. Let's get the scoreboards updated. It is going to be, what are the teams? I think it is Larry and her Lizards is the team name. Facing off against Jorek's Expedition, if I'm not mistaken. I think those are the team names. All right. So yeah, we got an Order Tribe battle here. We have like the Eastern Order Tribe versus the Western Order Tribe, which is going to be quite a bit of fun. A bowl cut for Emmerich? Why does Emmerich need a bowl cut? It's pretty fun. Professor Pone with the wisdom in chat saying bringing carry picks and having them get shut down usually means you lose. Yeah, if you bring a big centerpiece and it just gets annihilated, it's the same as tabletop. And honestly, domination mode is very similar to tabletop in many ways. Like I play tabletop 40k. I'm also getting into the Middle Earth strategy battle game, but like 40k is very, they're like, many of the dynamics are very similar, guys. So like in tabletop, for example, sometimes when I play my Death Guard, I'll know that I can't outdamage my opponent's army, so I will push up my entire army on the objectives and sacrifice the positioning to get blasted to hold the objectives long enough to win on points. And same thing can be done in domination, or you can value trade. Let your, like for example, if you're playing Tau or Imperial Guard in tabletop, you can let your opponent get up on the points and you can shoot them off. And then you can eventually take the objectives in the late game. Like tabletop 40k is very, very similar to domination mode, which is something I think that down the road, like I would put big money on the fact that Creative Assembly will probably do Total War Warhammer 40k, and if and when they do, they're basically just going to copy pasta domination mode and use it, which will be perfect for that game mode, like perfect, absolutely perfect. But yep, just my 2 cents. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's have some fun. Let's break it down. This is going to be RTK Stingers and Menacing Platypus, 2 mighty champions, very strong players playing against Spore. Spore is one of our resident Empire main. Spore is a very strong player, also an Empire main. You know, certainly takes a spot in my heart there. And the dreaded Saurian Enjoyer. Okay, I love it. I believe this is Melonhead. Melonhead, of course, one of our newest tournament hosts. So shout out to Melonhead. So Empire and Dwarves versus High Elves and Lizardmen. Let's go ahead and check it out. So for the Dwarves, it's going to be Longbeards. Oh, what a Chad dwarf pick. He didn't bring Thoric. He brought the Grombrindle, the white dwarf. Master Engineer, going to be bringing his items as well. We got War Wagons coming out for the Empire Knights. Marcus Wolfheart, Sunmaker in the back. And we do also have Spearmen and Free Company Militia who are going to be defending against, Pterodon Riders and other things that are going to be pushing like that. All right. Now, looking here, we do see the Lothern Seaguard. We see Alariel the Radiant. We see the Dread Saurian and Chad Nakai. Nakai is really cool because he gives perfect vigor. So he has this item called the Golden Amulets, or the Golden Tribute, and it basically gives ward save to your Dread Saurian and also gives it perfect vigor. So the big monster's never going to be getting tired, and it's going to be fighting to the bitter end. So Empire and Dwarves, and what I really, really, really appreciate about Spore and Melonhead here, aka the Dread Saurian Enjoyer, is that they brought like the same flags. They brought like the closest color scheme they could to make it much, much easier to cast here, which I love. A little bit of sneaky on the far side. We do see Illyrian Reavers for the Elves. So Stingers has those white lines of Praise. Looks like they're going to be coming up through the tree line and maybe press the back objective here. And some Miners with Blasting Charge is going to be sneaking through the forest as well. Trying to press up on that point. But how are they going to be able to deal with the big monster? Is it going to be like the trailer where, your boy Marcus Wolfhart's able to hunt things down? Here, the Sunmaker blasting into the Skink cohort. Now, if you're playing Empire and Dwarves, one of the strongest combos is actually to bring a Master Engineer from the Dwarves and give the Sunmaker extra ammo when it runs out. It's so good. Grombrindle going to battle with the Shredder of Lustria. Faw's protection going down though, so the Dread Saurian's melee defense is 60, and it's causing absolute havoc. We're probably going to need some Slayers here. Obviously, the Dwarven Bows aren't going to be doing a ton of damage against the 130 armor on the Dread Saurian. Marcus Wolfhart and Silver Bullets coming out. Looks like there's going to be some bombardments coming down. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but we'll keep tabs here and see. Some sort of a spell coming in from Larry, and it looks like it was a Comet of Cassandora. We do also have Pterodon Riders coming in, so they are the Palhawks of Sentinels, going to be trying to shut down the missile pieces, while the Master Engineer in the backfield is trying to lend some fire support. But honestly, Grombrindle's kind of getting his butt kicked. Entrenchment used on Grombrindle to give him ward save. However, it makes it so he cannot move, so he's going to be trapped in place, which is pretty hilarious. Nice net coming down. Marcus Wolfhard, the Huntsman, netting down the Powhawks' Sentinels. And the Silver Bullets, just massive firepower from right below. Powhawks' Sentinels getting absolutely shadow realmed by this Empire firepower, but it's going to be very tough to bring down that Dread Saurian, man, especially with Larry healing. And High Elves and Lizardmen are actually a very strong combo, because what you do is you use Larry with the Star of Avalorn and Earthblood to heal the Dread Saurian. Oh, but the rock drop! Oh my god, the Silver Bullets got annihilated by the rock drop. They were able to get right on top of its head and do some big, big damage there. Grombrindle still fighting in the pits here. We do have some Longbeards battling it out, and Empire looks like they're pushing up some Empire Knights to steal the back objective. We do see the Miners on the flank battling some White Lines of Krace, so obviously not the best engagement for the Dwarven Miners, but it's holding them in place. In the meantime, the Sunmaker of the Empire doing some great work. It did wreck some Skink cohorts, and now is going to be switching its firepower here onto the White Lines of Krace. We'll see what kind of value can be done here, but the Dread Saurian is a big problem, guys. It's a big, big problem. It still has 9,000 HP. Ulthar's Raiders trying to drag that bad boy down. Marcus Wolfhard also trying to bring down the Beast War Wagons of the Empire. I think you need like 3 or 4 War Wagons. I don't think this is going to cut it. I think you definitely need some more. Longbeard's, though, still fighting like absolute chads, and Grombrindle's still barely alive, and honestly isn't doing badly. He's actually dragging down one of the Scarvets, and Grombrindle is unbreakable, but the Dread Saurian's coming back, and the Dread Saurian with the steel chair! Absolute beatdown on this guy, and Grombrindle, oh my god, the Dread Saurian is such a raid boss, dude! The White Dwarf, you know, he's very strong, but he is not as strong as the Dread Saurian. He tries his best, but yeah, Grombrindle's dead. The Shredder of Lustria has established dominance, and dude, that Lizardman High Elf healing combo is so badass. And I think this is one of my favorite things about the format, is all these weird combos you can do, and like synergies between these factions. While also being like done in a format where you can't like, it's also being kept a little bit lore friendly, which I think is very fun. More shooting coming in, the Dwarves getting a little bit of DACA, Dread Saurian finally getting dragged down, but the White Dwarf has fallen. Looking at the damage value, we do see it's somewhat close. It's about 6.6 to yeah, it's very close, but with healing being taken into account, the Lizardmen and the Elves are actually a little bit ahead, I would say. See, Dragon Prince is trying to find a home, but Grenade Launcher is chasing them back. In the backfield, we do see the dreaded Illyrian Reavers trying to cause problems, but the Empire and Spore able to intercept them very well, so the Empire does run down these Reavers, and the Free Company Militia should be able to kind of secure the home point. Looks like the Empire is controlling this bad boy, but the Empire also pressing up, so the Man-Tide is on its way. So here they come. We do have the Double Spears moving up, as well as the Free Company Militia looking to take the back point, but the Elves going to be responding with Dragon Princes and Rangers, who trade very well into State Troopers, although maybe the Grenade Launchers can do a little bit of softening up. But it seems like the Order Tide, the Eastern Order Tide, is getting pushed back. They didn't seem to have like, they really needed like a Karl Franz type character, or like some big scary fighter that could cycle charge the Dread Saurian and or kill, you know, the supporting pieces. Or, you know, 3 or 4 War Wagons. I think if you're playing against High Elves and Lizardmen, especially when the team name is called Larry and her Lizards, I think you need to bring more War Wagons. Because War Wagons can't be shut down by Pterodons very easily, and they can also kill a Dread Saurian. If you have like 4 of them just blasting, they're going to have a very, very good time. So here they come. We see the Dragon Princes moving through, going after the Ulthar's Raiders, and the Miners with blasting charges continuing to do battle with the Feral Cold Ones. And yeah, man, looking like the Lizards get a little bit of momentum here as they do push back with the Rangers. Rangers able to kind of clean things up. White Lines of Krace obviously will dominate Free Company Militia in combat. Grenade Launchers trying to clear off whatever they can. The Grenade Launchers of Spore, of course, will do some really, really nice damage. Looking at the damage value, the Empire is doing quite a bit of damage. Dwarves a little bit less so, but losing Grombrindle is obviously going to be super painful. Grenades, one of the best units on the Empire roster, but something I want to look into for this format is getting a mod that we can play with that makes it so the faction flags are the same. So both teams would have the same flag, like regardless of, you know, whatever factions you're playing. I think that would be really nice to make it a little bit easier. Yeah, we also probably need to see some Slayers granted. Oh my god, Chalice of Potions! Or no, Comet of Castandora. There's no Bretonia. Chalice of Potions from the Lizardmen. I believe they have a Skink Priest. Yeah, dude. Oh my god. Really, really good. Nukes down those Rangers. And what's going to happen now is the Elves are probably going to counter-push the Empire, although the Empire does have a lot of stuff here. They still have Free Company and Empire Knights, so it might not be easy to push them back, but they probably could counter-push. And the Lizards have a balls-deep stranglehold. Look at everyone here. The Dread Saurian, perfect vigor. Saurus Warriors, perfect vigor. Saurus Scar Veteran, perfect vigor. The entire army here is just sauced and ready to go, and pretty much fresh, right? So they're not going to be taking any of the vigor penalties. They're actually quite substantial in this game. So it looks like the Empire and Dwarves starting to run out of steam a little bit. I don't know if there's going to be any avenues of a comeback for them, maybe. But I feel as if Larry, the Dread Saurian, and Nakai are going to carry hard. And Marcus Wolfhard, not a bad character for battlefield control. He's got nets, he's got some decent firepower. But the problem with Marcus is he's not going to be like a steady hard carry in the late game. Like, he's good at getting incremental value, and controlling momentum with the nets, but once the battle is lost, he's not like a big Scarbrand or Karl Franz or like a Boris or one of these combat characters that can carry the game back and start picking off characters and dig you out of a bad situation, right? And now we're going to be seeing Nakai coming in, trying to settle the trailer debate. Nakai going to be taking it to Marcus Wolfartes. He is getting hunted pretty heavily, and yeah, Marcus is not going to be long for this world. He's 100% going to be dead. In the meantime, the elves stealing the back objective. They get some Dragon Princes back there. The Empire bringing in Empire Knights, Swordsmen, and Free Company Militia. But with Saurus Warriors and Dragon Princes, honestly, the forces of the Western Order Tide, the Lizards and the High Elves, probably going to be taking this back point, I would imagine. The rest of the Empire forces here being dragged down more or less. Spearmen going to be losing to White Lions of Grace and Rangers. Marcus Wolfhart getting feasted on like the Heathen Kings of old. He's basically just getting hunted and it has been somewhat elusive, but he's been able to kind of run and get knocked over perpetually instead of actually taking damage. The Dwarven push here running out of steam pretty hard. White Lions of Grace trade very well in the Dwarven infantry if the Dwarves don't have any sort of missile fire. We do see the Ultharch Raiders coming back in and blasting charges, trying to clear things off, but they just don't have the tools to deal with this big like single entity squad. And Marcus Wolfhart is basically wavering on death's bed. It's probably going to be a triple cap in a moment as we see the man tide here is getting broken. The Elves and the Lizards with the Pterodon Riders overwatching and the Lothern Sea Guard starting to saturate fire into the light armor here of the Empire Troopers. It's going to be able to kind of nuke those guys down. Now, if there had been a couple cannons could have been very useful here. Granted, on Celestial Lake, there is that tree line, but you had a couple cannons right here. You could also display the middle two objectives and put some steady firepower, but cannons are a little bit scary. Obviously, Pterodon Riders can take them down, but if you have like a Marcus Wolfhart and a Netcaster, you could protect a firing line of cannons pretty well for sure. So this objective most likely going to be flipping in a second, ladies and gentlemen. We have Slayers here. Slayers will not trade well into Saurus units, and Nakai and the Dread Saurian basically just annihilating everything in their path. Marcus Wolfhart is going to be the next to fall as the Dread Saurian literally just walks over him and, yeah, oh man, Marcus, you're in trouble, buddy. You're in some serious trouble. The Dread Saurian's pissed off about the trailer. He's knocking him around a little bit. That's weird. Okay, the Dread Saurian's actually going somewhere else. That's why he wasn't attacking Marcus. But Nakai's going to be settling the grudge, I think. I'm not sure. Let's see if he gets the attack animation as he's going to be locking in. It's kind of weird how that works sometimes. I think he's like, I don't know if he's attacking Marcus. He might be trying to move somewhere else. It's very, very strange. But yeah, he's like sort of following him. Classic Total War Haggard mechanics. That's what we live for. Pterodon Riders in the backfield going to be getting a rock drop. That would be super MLG. We do see the Sunmaker coming out, but the Sunmaker is not going to be able to clean out fast enough, especially since the Pterodon Riders are already here. Oh my god, this is going to be painful. So do we see the rock drop? And here it comes in 1, 2, and a 3. So right now they're just using their darts, not doing the rock drop. I expected it, but it maybe a little bit of a lapse in micro here, but yeah, should be able to take down the Sunmaker if they use the correct micro here. This objective being held by the Empire and the Dwarves. Currently about 19,000 value for the forces of the Western Order Tide. For the Eastern Order Tide, they're sitting just over around 13,000, 14,000, but the problem with that is the healing. So they're actually much further behind than that, much further behind. Pterodon Riders jump on the Sunmaker, probably going to be able to take that down. We have Feral Cold Ones coming back here, and the Empire just barely holding on with the Slayers. And man, Slayers getting wrecked by Archers is a pretty feels-bad moment. As they finally got Marcus, looks like Marcus did get taken down right there, so Nakai was able to finish him off. As the Dread Saurian just kind of camps on this objective, the Dwarves and Empire desperately fighting to get back here, but I really don't think there's any chances at this point. I really do not think there's any chances. Did they actually salvage the Sunmaker? It looks like they did. Wow. So the two Spearmen were able to kind of salvage the Sunmaker crew. This objective is starting to flip back right now as the Archers just pour on tons and tons of firepower. Saurus Warriors defeating Free Company Militia. Coldland Spear Riders basically counter Empire Cavalry, and they have enough armor piercing to be very effective against Dwarves as well. Yeah, Marcus got munched on, and there's two. The Dread Saurians are proving to be really good in this format, which I'm so happy about. Like, one of the lamest things, one of the things I like the least, I like when big centerpiece models are actually good in tabletop. And also in Total War Warhammer, like elite units, big expensive centerpieces. I like when like combos can be made to work like that. It's always like a kind of boring when you just see those like 20 stacks of like cheap chaff units and that becomes the meta. I like seeing, you know, like big expensive pieces actually work and pay for themselves. It's very exciting. And again, in this format, it shines. I mean, Lizardmen can do the same thing with the Dread Saurian. They can heal it with, you know, a slan of some sort. But having the Larry provide the healing and all that is very good. Oh my god, another Comet of Cassandora going down. I have to say, Stingers, excuse me, who's playing Lizardmen? Yeah, Platypus has been an absolute tyrant with these Comets this whole game, sitting at 1,400 value. Salamander shooting in, and it is a triple cap, ladies and gentlemen. We can do some fast forwarding. This game is 100% over. And we are going to be seeing the Western Order Tide advance. So the High Elves and the Lizardmen power combo, they do get the job done. Well played to the Empire and Dwarves. I think Empire Dwarves could totally win this. I think you just need more war wagons. Also bring different characters. I don't think Marcus is very good there. I think Marcus was a little bit lackluster. And Grombrindle was also very weak too, unfortunately. Grombrindle's not going to be able to fight. He can barely fight a Bastillodon, probably, or a Stegodon. So I think you need to get like Thoric or even just bring Master Engineers as your characters and use them for range DPS and utility. And then invest in a wider army for the Dwarves. And, bring you need 4 war wagons and like a France. 4 wagons and Franz would be able to take that down. Sunmaker, it got summoned twice and it didn't pay for itself. I'm starting to think maybe cannons like Hammer of the Witches could be a better pick. Love it. Great combo. Good Dragon Prince play from Stingers. Good Larry play. Good high health pressure. Obviously, Platypus, the Tyrant, is always 4,000 value on the Saurian. And the rest of the army, of course, comments were great. Looking at the Empire forces, Marcus, only 900 value. Wagons were amazing, but you need 4 of them. There was not enough armor piercing to bring down a big monster. Dwarves had a lot of Slayers, but the problem with Slayers is if you try and kill a Dread Saurian with Slayers only, they're going to put Saurus under it, and they're going to put Skinks under it, and your Slayers are going to get dunked on. So you need to bring missiles, like wagons, I think would be your best bet. Ungrim could be interesting, but Ungrim is basically the same thing as Grombrindle. As a matter of fact, Grombrindle is basically just a better Ungrim. He's unbreakable. He has a better ability. He's got better utility. I think Grombrindle is just straight up better than Ungrim. I mean, yeah, Ungrim has anti-large, but Grombrindle has higher base weapon strength, so he's better against other targets also. And he has the Smoke Bomb ability, which is an AoE slow and debuff and all that. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I think Grombrindle, if you're going to go that route, is the better choice. All right, so let's make it official. We're out of the first round. It is going to be the Western Order Tide advancing to face the dreaded Undead. And then we have the Ogre Mercenaries on the bottom side versus Marked Chaos. Yes, yes. So let's go ahead and get this one going here. Set up these scorecards here. It is going to be Peasants Milord, I think. Let me check. And where is this? Okay, delete that replay. Thank you guys all for joining today. Been quite a bit of fun so far. And where are we at? Okay. So it's going to be Peasants Milord versus the Walking Haggard. Which is Pona and I's team. The Walking Haggard. Now this game, guys, was very fun. You guys are certainly in for a treat. So we'll load into this bad boy in here in just a second. Get it going and have some fun. Our Undead? Well, everyone's saying Undead is unbeatable, but they lost the last tournament to an Order Tide. So, I mean, Undead is very beatable. But yeah, they're very inherently strong and easy to pilot. I agree with that. But I think you can totally beat Undead. Totally beat them. Yeah, Undead are still the villains. It's always fun to root against them, but, you can definitely beat them. All right, guys. So we have Peasants Milord. It's going to be Bretonnian Ogre Kingdoms versus Nurgle and Khorne. Now, Pone and I are doing something very similar to what you saw in the first game. But, of course, we wouldn't be the meme lords if we didn't bring some meme units. The Bilious Thundergruff is here. The Chaos Giant. The Farting Giant is on its way in. And honestly, though, I think it's not bad here. It can definitely fight some of the Bretonnian characters. It has a ton of HP, so it kind of works like a crappy version of the Dread Saurian. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I have Festus, the Giant, and Cultist. Professor Pone's going to be going to Scarbrand once again. And basic Khorne units. So it's going to be Khorne Warriors and a couple of Cultists, different things like that. We will see how it goes. Yeah, Pone and I did win our first game. It was the first game that we casted on the stream today. And now we're facing off in the semifinals of the tournament. So it's Professor Pone and I versus Sandwich and Subutai. And it's going to be Bretonnia Ogre, so Fey Enchantress with her typical goon squad. And she's going to be backed up by, I believe, Greasus, a Butcher with healing, all that sort of stuff that you guys know and love. Yeah, the true Bretonnian isn't playing today. I believe it didn't match up with the schedule. Yeah, I'm not sure. All right, guys, so for the Ogre and Order Tide Alliance, or the Ogre Mercenaries, I should say, Sky Striders, Ogre Bulls, very similar. Foot Squire front line, like their army comp didn't change much from the first game. Bretonnian infantry with Ogre infantry mixed in. And, that's a really strong combo because Ogre infantry can fight on top of your infantry too, since they're monstrous. So it works very, very well, actually. Sky Striders, and we do have a Butcher. Now, for Professor Pone and I, it's going to be very mouth-breathing. It's going to be Chaos Warriors, some Halberds, we got Plague Bearers, Festus, and the Haggard Farting Giant, Double Cultist, and Big Daddy Scarbrand back in business once again, looking to cause some havoc. It's going to be a fun one, guys. The Khorne Nurgle combo is really, really good, actually. I think it's a very strong combo, and if you guys want to play in this 2v2 tournament, you just have to look out for signups in the Discord. but I would highly recommend the Khorne Nurgle combo for beginners. It's really easy. All of your units are individually like pretty strong. I mean, obviously it does reward like micro with your flesh hounds and like your target priority and things like that with your characters, but it's a very, very good combo for beginners, I would say. Very, very good. Scarbrand moving up, and the Fey Enchantress and the Green Knight moving over here. So this is the one disadvantage that Professor Pone and I have. I think in a straight up blob fight, if we just blobbed our two armies, Pone and I would probably win, but they have a massive, massive, massive mobility advantage, and this map is very big. So they can play the side points way better than we can because we're very slow, but on a blob fight, we're certainly going to be favored. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. But yeah, they're going to be going for Objective 1 initially, so Pone and I decided to go for Objective 3 instead. So I reroute my infantry over to the side, and we're going to be locking down the middle. Because obviously, if we see the Fey Enchantress and, Green Knight over here, and the Sky Striders, and all these like super erect monsters and different things like that, it's going to be very tough to win this fight. We're not going to be able to mobilize my Nurgle units quick enough to get there and synergize with the Khorne army, right? So we just go for the middle, and we're going to be going for Objective 3 as well. So we can do a little bit of fast forwarding while the two armies posture. A lot of it is just getting the units together. Festering Stooges coming out, Chaos Warhounds moving over to the side point. Professor Pone going to be sending some Minotaurs with great weapons, and they're coming on over to team up right here. So we should be able to get this point. We'll have to see. Hey, Legamus, thank you. I want to see Nurgle and Slaanesh team someday. Nurgle Chaos Warriors with Slaanesh Cav. Yeah, that seems like a really badass combo. Khorne and Nurgle work in a very similar fashion because Khorne is very quick, actually. Flesh Hounds and Minotaurs and different things like that kind of fill that similar role as well. So this point's being hotly contested, but it looks like we're going to be getting our clutches on it. Professor Pone's and Minotaurs with great weapons are able to get there, and we do have our Chaos Warhounds with poison sitting on the point. Nurglings and Plague Bearers moving on up, and now we do have a little bit of a blob fight potentially in action, but you see our army's a little bit split up, right? We have some forces over here, and their mobility, they can really stick and move and cause some havoc here. So we do see the Fey Enchantress moving in, and the Lead Belchers up on the high ground. This was nasty. They have beautiful line of sight up on this like little choke point. They're fully protected, right? We can't really get to them without like breaking through these choke points. So that positioning from our opponents was very good. And some of the Chaos Warriors of Khorne are getting Shadow Realms here. Looks like there's going to be a Chalice of Potions going down from the Fey Enchantress. Nice hit on those Chaos Warrior Halberds. Overall, a very, very good start as our slower, less dynamic army isn't quite able to keep up with that initial beatdown. But we do have the 2 cap. That's good for us. They're going to have to come to us eventually. And remember, we do have healing as well. So Festus is going to be able to provide some healing to the Chaos Warriors as soon as I turn on the healing elixirs. I believe I had the Mortis Engine on initially. Plague Bearers move up on the high ground. Plague Bearers are very good against Ogre units. They have really high melee defense, and their poison and sustained grinding abilities make them very, very durable here. So we're going to end up just taking the blob fight, but just trying to feel it out, see where our opponents are going to be committing as the Lead Belchers continue to just do nasty work. And I was actually really surprised they had line of sight. Like are they shooting through this terrain? Let's watch this for a second. Okay, are they shooting? Yeah, see, they're able to kind of shoot through the terrain. Okay, so this terrain actually isn't like truly blocking. So yeah, they're able to shoot through. That's something to note about this map is this terrain doesn't actually block like properly, so they were able to shoot through on us. I was wondering how that was happening on the game because they were like lit up. Look, they're like legit shooting through some of the rocks here. Crazy stuff. So Mortis Engine draining down the Plague Bearers of Nurgle and just sacrificing the boys to kind of hold it down. Obviously, the value's not great for us, but on the side point, it looks like they're preparing an Alpha Strike. So they have the Green Knight over here, they have the Foot Squires, Halberds, and the Knights of the Lionhearted. But we do have Minotaurs, double Minotaurs, and Chaos Knights hiding in the brush as well. So the Chaos Knights and Scarbrand are basically hiding in the trees, waiting to get a big ambush right there, and we are holding it down. So now it looked like they were pretty committed to the blob fight. Like I saw that big Chunkus Greasus was there. And what's crazy about Greasus is he's actually really good in this 2v2 battle here because he has an aura that gives all nearby allies 10% ward save. That is so good when there's that many SEs nearby. But we take the blob fight. The Farting Giant's going to be moving in. He's getting in there. Festus as well. And my double Cultist. So this is exactly what we wanted. We wanted a Nurgle blob fight. Sky Strider's moving in as well. Plague Bear's trying to hold it down. The big Giant's going to be getting shot by the Lead Belchers. But again, we have healing elixirs active. Everyone has their prices active. But the 2 cultists and the boys seem to be doing pretty well. And we actually are getting some big damage on the Butcher. So this is Nurgle territory. This is what we want. So Professor Pone going to be sending his cultists over to help me out. Obviously, I'm heavily outmatched here in terms of just pure gold value. Fey Enchantress, Foot Squires, all these Ogre characters, Sky Striders. The Nurgle army here is going to be suffering a little bit, right? Just in terms of being outnumbered. But the blob fight is really, really where we shine, like I said. On the other side, we do have a bit of a fight, and it looks like it's going pretty well for us. Scarbrand does get in there, and he is able to really fend these guys off in tandem with the Festering Stooges. So blunting the initial momentum of the other team as we do see Henri Le Massif and the Green Knight getting ready to move in. Plague Bearers should be able to just decisively defeat Men-at-Arms because they're expendable as well, so they don't have good capture weight. And at the end of the day, we're holding on relatively well. In the backfield, Knights of the Lionhearted hanging out, but Professor Pone using his Minotaurs to watch those guys and make sure they don't get any sneaky engagements on us. And I do also have my Chaos Knights waiting to ambush. Now, the blob fight's going to be pretty important here. We do have the big giant as well as the 4 cultists. We have 4 cultists fighting here. We have a really good fighting squad, and our healing is insane. The healing elixirs, constantly healing like 4 or 5 characters, is quite good. And also, Nurgle does have really good debuffs here with the Beast of Nurgle. So this thing will debuff the melee attack of the enemy army by 5. So realizing it's going to be a disgusting blob fight, I do move this bad boy in here, and hopefully we can continue to do well in this old bump and grind. Sky Striders do get Troll Guts, though. They're doing a bunch of damage, currently sitting at about 600 value, which isn't bad for how long they've been fighting. Grease is tanking, but guys, the fact that all of these guys have 10% ward save is just nuts. And they also have a leadership buff from Greasus. So Greasus is actually proven to be pretty decent in the 2v2 blob format. When there's like these fights, they can definitely do some work. On the side objective, it is held by the forces of evil, and we do get the Knights of the Lionhearted moving in, but the ambush has been sprung. So what happened was the Minotaurs charged in, and our opponent saw that, so they rear charged the Minotaurs with their Knights, but then the dreaded Nurgle ambush with Skarbrand is coming. So the Knights of Nurgle are going to be coming out with their huge cleaving axes, and the Knights of the Lionhearted are going to get absolutely wrecked here as Skarbrand is now reinforced. The Minotaurs have buffering and support, and it looks like this side fight probably will be going back into our favor as Skarbrand is able to just raid boss it. Granted, they do take the objective from us with just pure bodies, but at the end of the day, I think that rear charge there and the Minotaurs, we should be able to break the Knights of the Lionhearted, and the Festering Stooges are going to win their fights eventually. Now, back on this side, it looks like they're making a little bit of a push for the objective. The Sky Striders bouncing about, and the Lead Belchers repositioning. Beautiful repositioning here from Sandwich. Sandwich gets the Lead Belchers, he goes around, and he sets them up in the middle, and he's going to be putting huge DACA into the Chaos Warriors on the point, allowing the Ogres to potentially steal that. So that kind of screws it up. Like, the blob fight was going very good for us, guys. I would say we are winning the trades and outvaluing and doing very well there in terms of just this, like, vacuum of a trade. But the problem is, now our objective is under threat, and points are going to be a big variable in this game. So I have to pull back. I'm trying to retreat, and I'm losing my formation. I'm being picked apart a little bit as I run, and Greasus is just all over me with his wheels. We're taking some serious damage for sure. So once again, Ogre Bull's continuing to fight. Looking on the side objective, this one is still owned by the Mantide. Festering Stooges still bumping and grinding Nurglings, and the Nurgle Chaos Knights did very good. They were able to rear charge in and take out the Knights of the Lionhearted. Minotaur still going strong, and look at this Skarbrand going Super Saiyan, the dreaded Professor Pone Skarbrand plays, as he goes after the Green Knight. And Skarbrand does do magic damage. He's a demon, so he's like basically ready to annihilate the Green Knight. Green Knight's rampage. He's being beaten down by Skarbrand so hard, but the Bretonnians do have some peasant archers, which will be mitigating some of his damage here. Chaos Knight sweeping into the backfield, looking to just clean up the archers and some of the other threats here. But a beautiful response from our opponents as we do see the Great Subushai summoning in Grail Knights. Now, Grail Knights are going to be a really good option against the Chaos Knights. Chaos Knights will have no chance against them on the charge. I mean, Chaos Knights are good sustained fighters, but they're also like being shot by archers. They're fighting Knights of the Lionhearted here, trying to shut down whatever I can, but the Grail Knights are a really good counter. In the meantime, Marauder Horseman throwing axes moving in, so I do get double throwing axes to get us the capture weight. Also, I saw the Grail Knights come in, so I figured we needed a little bit of love. Did the Green Knight actually die? Yes. I think the Green Knight was killed by Chadbrand, so Skarbrand with a huge pick right there. We really needed that, as the Green Knight appears to have fallen to the Greater Demon of Khorne. On the other side, barely holding on to this objective, I had to pull back a little bit. I pull my Plague Bears over, my Cultists, and start sending some of my Troopers here, but in doing that, I start to lose the blob fight because I sent my buffering to go hold the objective, my Plague Bears and my Cultists, and now the Giant and Festus and all these guys are a little bit surrounded here, but the Bilious Thundergruff, he's not doing bad. Like, the Giant holding it down a little bit. Taking a look at him, he's at 1,500 value, which isn't terrible, but there's still halberds on him. Sky Striders are also anti-large. Nice play from Pone here. He does get more Fleshhounds in to try and provide a little bit of support. Festus with the healing elixirs, keeping the Beast of Nurgle alive. The other cult is still fighting, but the Grail Relique is so good. The Grail Relique at only 300 gold, making all their units immune to psychology, means we're not getting any terror routes whatsoever on these blob fights. The Grail Relique MVPs, the synergy, giving those Ogre units immune to psychology with their high mass makes it very tough to win these fights. Now, Skarbrand coming back over. Professor Pone said Skarbrand was very beat up, so he brings him back to get some heals. So Skarbrand is on his way over. It looks like Dismember is going to be going down from the Ogre Kingdoms, but nonetheless, he's close enough and should be able to start putting some hurt on these guys. Middle objective is going to be flipped, though. It looks like the Ogre is able to get their Lead Belchers up at the point. All we really have is a Cultist, and I do have some reinforcements coming in. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a little bit scary. So this objective is flipping back to us. So the forces of evil, marked chaos, the chaos gods are going to be able to maybe get this point back. It looks like it was kind of going our way, but no, the evil tide might lose it as our Marauder Horsemen do get pushed off. So it looks like they are going to be stabilizing it. So things are getting a little bit scary on all the points. As far as the value goes, it's pretty close. Opponent has 10, I have about 8.3. I have 14 and 10, but we have a lot of healing with Nurgle, like an insane amount of healing. So I actually think the value right now in this game is pretty much dead even. So cultists as well as Festus, fighting here, going to be pulling back a little bit, getting Bilius back to the point. I know we need to recapture the point here. Skarbrand just being an absolute Chad, just continuing to fight. And looking at Skarbrand's value so far, he's already over 3,000 value. He killed the Green Knight and also was able to do some good work against those cav units over here. So your man Skarbrand, certainly a beast, as he is now, he rampaged 2 Lead Belcher units, so they can't retreat, and is getting some big DAC on those guys. Plague Bears on their way in, Nurgle capture weight, Marauders with dual weapons coming in from Professor Pone. And now, this point was kind of undefended a little bit. We saw that the momentum was like elsewhere. They didn't really have much here. So I pull some Chaos Furies over and some Marauder Horse and a Nurgle. Professor Pone gets his Minotaurs here. I also have a Cultist back here. So I'm like, okay, I think we have an opportunity to maybe take Objective 1. And a triple cap is potentially on the horizon. We'll have to see. I mean, they have us triple capped right now, but we started to feel a little bit of a momentum shift here. And some of the trades were going okay. Greasus is kind of low. Cultist fighting. All of these guys are in pretty good shape. The healing cap approaching on our boys, but Greasus also approaching his healing cap. Middle objective, owned by the Ogre Mercenaries, as we do see Skarbrand hunting down the Green Knight. The Green Knight got resummoned, guys. So the Green Knight got resummoned. Check this out. Man, look at that. And Skarbrand just beating him down all over again. How many times must I teach you this lesson, old man? Skarbrand, the Chad Demon of Khorne, with his magic damage, proving to be a very, very good answer against these guys. So, yeah, honestly, Green Knight might just straight up die again against Skarbrand. And if he can't get away, Skarbrand's like almost as fast as him. So he's able to get that bully beatdown. Here in this fight, we do see, your old boy Festus. Does he have the healing elixirs on? It looks like he has the Mortis Engine right now to try and drag down some of the Spearmen at Arms and get rid of some of the buffering. Cultists of Nurgle and Cultists of Khorne still fighting. Grease is very low. Fey Enchantress a little bit beat up, but Festus is kind of running out of steam. Bilius coming over to help, so the big Haggard Giant on its way. As the Green Knight just on death's bed again. You can see the Harbinger of Pestilence might actually be able to finish him off. But the Giant's trying to get on the Green Knight. It's coming. But your boy Festus has been... The triple chin battle has concluded. Festus looks like he's potentially going to be dying here as he does run. And obviously our opponents have a much faster army. So their capabilities for finishing those guys off, or finishing Festus off, is going to be very doable. So Bilius and Skarbrand fighting shoulder to shoulder. More Ogres coming in, though. The Ogres are coming to get you. Middle objectives does flip back to Nurgle and Khorne, as the Nurglings and the Plague Bearers and some dual weapons do get up on the point. The side objective does also flip to us as well. So we have a double cap. Pone and I know that at this point, if we can hold 2 objectives for the rest of the game, we're probably going to be able to win it. Festus, unfortunately, was retreating, and the cursed Green Knight is back, despite probably not having crazy value. Let's go and see, although he was fighting Skarbrand, so maybe he got 1,300. But the Green Knight's going to be hunting down Festus, and this is a big play. If I can stabilize Festus, get some healing back online, we can definitely have a good chance of winning this game. But the blob fight is actually favoring the forces of the Ogre Mercenaries, as the Fey Enchantress and Grease's Goldtooth are able to take down the Giant. I was really surprised about this, but the Giant actually paying the Troll Toll, and so too is your boy Skarbrand. Skarbrand's a little bit trapped up here, and the Ward Save combo is so good. Like, the fact that Greasus gives 10% damage resistance to everyone around him, I think was one of the big deciding factors in some of these blob fights, right? Like, Greasus would be dead without it. Like, so many of the Bretonnian characters would just be on death's bed without the Ward Save. Greasus in big trouble, though. Skarbrand's gonna give it to you. He's got him rampage, but Greasus is shaken, and Skarbrand takes him down. So Greasus has fallen to the greater demon of Khorne. The Reaper of Skulls, certainly living up to his name here as he continues to hunt. We can see -5 leadership, though. Fey Enchantress, Henri Lamassif, the Knights of the Lionhearted, who do magic damage, so they're going to be really good against Skarbrand with that bonus for large and magic damage. So Skarbrand, he got 6,000 value this game, guys. 5,999. Probably one more hit will get him there. And he's trying to finish off the Green Knight here. Side objective is in the control of the forces of evil here, but at the end of the day, it looks like they might be able to flip it back. They did get the Sky Striders out, but they are battling Minotaurs of Khorne with great weapons who are very, very damaged, but Minotaurs of Khorne should be able to put some hurt on them. We'll have to see. And Festus is being escorted off the battlefield here by Knights of the Realm, which is very unfortunate. Plague Bearers moving up, middle objective still within our control. But ultimately, like, I think the little final engagement here where the Fey Enchantress and Green Knight got away could be a deciding factor, because they still have that Mortis Engine, they still have that heroic presence, whereas Festus is dead and Skarbrand is dead also. But so did Greasus also died, so the Ogres are going to be taking a leadership penalty. Extremely close fight. Extremely, extremely close fight. Objective 3 owned by the forces of the Ogre Mercenaries. Objective 2 still in the control of Chaos, as Plague Bears and Nurglings continue to just fight on this point. Gotta pull the Nurglings back to make sure to get that capture weight. Beast of Nurgle holding it down, using the Slime Trail for the debuffs. And the Minotaurs of Khorne have been really, really good damage dealers this game, piling into the Grail Knights. Grail Knights will do some good damage back to them. Grail Knights are very, very strong. But with the Beast of Nurgle debuffing their stats and the Minotaurs with great weapons getting some good hammering on these bad boys, it should be decent. But the Green Knight coming in with the rear charge and the Fey Enchantress and the Knights of the Lionhearted might be able to break our position here. It's going to be very, very precarious. Beautiful charge there from our opponents. On the side point, we got Plague Bears holding it down. Looks like there's going to be some Nobblar Trappers on their way, but double Nurglings coming, as well as Fleshhounds and Marauder Horsemen. So the side point looking like it could stay under our control. It's going to be very, very close. Currently looking at the score in the game, we're sitting at 1,200, and they're sitting at 13. But the problem is, if we lose these objectives, which we just did, we lost the middle objective here, guys. Like, it's getting a little bit too tight. Like, we might have time to get some objectives back, ladies and gentlemen, but we needed to hold on to that one for a little bit longer here. Currently looking at the value in the game, it's basically dead even on value. And with healing being taken into account, I think Professor Pone and I are actually up a little bit on value, but overall, their mobility and their objective control could be the thing that edges this game out. So Nurgle holding on to the point here with the Nurglings, but Sky Striders trying to intercept, but Nurglings, a little Popcorn Bandits going to be moving up onto the point. Really, really good capture weight from the Ogres, as the Ogre Bulls with insane capture speed going to be able to get here with their 54 movement speed. Pretty crazy. Middle objective could start to swing back to us, but guys, we have to get a triple cap like right now. Michael Palmer, thank you for the donation. It's been so long since I've been able to catch a stream. Happy to send you a little blood for the Blood God. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Middle objective swinging back to the forces of evil. Side objective as well in a little bit of danger. We could maybe get the counter triple cap here. Fleshhounds coming in from Pone, Furies, and Poison Hounds for myself. This objective looks like it could be going back to us. The dreaded Grail Relique keeping these Bretonnian Knights fighting. The Fleshhounds of Pone immediately intercept it and are going to be dragging that bad boy down, so they do take down the Grail Relique, which gets rid of the capture weight. This point's going to be going back to us, but the middle, we're not able to get it. We do re-secure the side objective, holding on to it just barely. But at the end of the day, guys, we're not able to get the middle objective, and the forces of the Ogre Mercenaries are going to be advancing on to the grand finals. That was an insanely close game. The blob fights were really good, and super fun match. Pone and I had a great time. Subutai and Sandwich were great opponents, played super well. And honestly, I really love that Khorne Nurgle combo. Pone did so good with Scarbrand. Pone's target priority was so solid. He was causing a lot of havoc, 6,000 value, and yeah, it was just great. His Minotaur play was solid too. Like, Khorne does the damage, Nurgle just tanks and heals. It's great. 43 and 36 from those Khorne tours, dude. Oh, so good. For me, 22 on Fest is not bad. You know, he only costs like 1,400 gold. And then the Giant also paid for itself. The Giant didn't do bad either. I was pretty happy with that. Beast of Nurgle paid for itself. Marauder Horsemen did okay. Chaos Knights didn't quite shine. Despite, you know, doing okay on their ambush, they still got killed by the Grail Knights on the other side. I don't know if you guys saw that. So the Chaos Knights were probably a bit of a mistake. Looking at the Ogre team, dude, the Grease Train, guys. Look at that. 3,400. Lead Belchers with 2,000 each. 4,000 Sky Strider value from Sandwich. Oh, so good. And Subutai's character squad, obviously very strong. 1,400, Green Knight 1,800, Fey Enchantress 3,400 value with her Mortis Engine effects. And the Grail Knights 2,000 value. Just really, really good performances. There's a lot of units in the battle that actually did quite well. So GG, well played, guys. Let's go to the bracket and make it official. Grand Finals is going to be the, let's go ahead and get it. It's going to be the Ogre Mercenaries against either the Undead or the Western Order Tide as we prepare for the next round. Nurgle and Wood Elves, well, we have alliance structures, so players have to play thematic teams. They can't just like put Empire and Chaos together. I think it's kind of dumb. It's not really that fun to watch, honestly. Kaiser, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard, and thank you so much for helping us to reach our February membership goal. So thank you, man. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard, my friend, and thanks for supporting all this multiplayer action. All right, so let's get this next game going. It's going to be the Undead versus the Western Order Tide. Let's go ahead and delete this replay so I don't cast it again, as I would probably do. And let me get the nameplates all set up. So, Total War, not Tila versus the, what was the name of this top team here? Let me get this. This was the Larry and her lizards. Larry had a little lizard. Larry and her lizards. Very good stuff, man. All right. So, looks like we're all set. Let's get ready to jump into the next game. Skull Crushers are interesting. They might be okay against Bretonnia, but I do feel the Minotaurs are just better, like Pone said. Like, because the Minotaurs have high armor, and they just, like, hit so much harder. Yeah. They're very effective. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. We'll experiment. Like, maybe Skull Crushers with a little bit of healing could be good. I wonder how Kugath would have done there, too. Kugath could have been pretty strong instead of Festus. Although he's so slow. He's so slow, and my army would have been so much smaller with him. Dude, Greasus got 3,000 plus value, guys. That almost never happens. That almost never happens. All right. So top side of the bracket. Well, I mean, Pone and I did bring some memes. Like, we had the farting giant, but, like, we were trying to, like, bring good builds. Like, the giant actually had some applications in the single entity fight. So, yeah. Pone brought Scarbrand. Scarbrand isn't, like, a conventional try-hard build or character. That's for sure. All right, so let's get the nameplate set up. This is best of one here. Larry and the Lizards getting ready to party. And once again, Kaiser, thank you so much for becoming a member, my friend. I really, really appreciate it. So, who will win, the Order Tide or the Undead? We sort of have an Order Tide to the Grand Finals a little bit. I mean, we have your boy Bretonnia with the Ogres as well. So they did get to the finals. So we'll have to see how this goes. Yeah, Giants aren't bad. Giants have some applications, especially with Ogres, I think, because like Giants on Ogre Kingdoms with like healing, I feel like it's actually reasonably cost effective. So, spawning on the northwest side of the map, it's going to be the Undead Horde. And to be expected, it's just a big mouth-breathing blob. Cryptors, Tomb Guard for the infantry line. Helman Gorst coming in. He's going to Gorst ride the whip. We haven't seen him in a long time, but he's coming in with those sweet, sweet Mortis engines. We got Ushapti Great Bows in the back, as well as a Lich Priest of Nahakara. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be it. On the other side, we do see the Larry and her Lizards. The Dread Saurian returns with Imric, the Lord of Dragons. The Umbral Tide, and we do also have a Slan Mage of Life. And it looks like a fair amount of spears and grinding units as well. So this will be pretty interesting as well. Corey, love all the games you cover. Thank you for your courage, brother. Can't wait for some Company of Heroes 3. Thank you so much. I'm quite excited. Company of Heroes 3 is something I am just eagerly looking to play. And also host some tournaments as well. I think some tournaments for that game is going to be extremely fun. All right, so how's this all going to unfold? We do see the armies of hell moving up, the Tomb Guard and Crypt Horrors and all the bad boys getting ready to party. Sepulchral Stalkers at the back are going to be a very good support piece. Helmut Gorst, obviously going to be draining things down. Shredder of Lustria is very, very strong. Against Undead, I mean, it can absorb a lot of damage, but I'm curious how these two factions or these two alliances are going to be playing the side points. This map is very much like a side point map. Some maps are kind of like a big blob fight in the middle can decide it, but this one is very much like mobility and playing the sides. And you would think that the Western Order Tide would have the advantage there with like Ripperdactyls and Cab, but Vampire Counts have amazing Cab, and so too do the Tomb Kings. So I don't know. Could be a little bit tricky. All right, is there any way to make 2v2s run smoother? Honestly, there's no way of getting around the lag, sadly, because Creative Assembly just is not going to give us dedicated servers. So yeah, we just have to deal with it. But honestly, like, well, from what I heard in this event, we didn't have too much lag. Like, everyone who's playing, nobody was like, oh my god, it's so laggy. I didn't hear a single person, like, say it was laggy. So, it was still like, if we had done a stream, it probably would have been laggy. Just because you have a fifth person in the lobby, which really adds a lot to the peer-to-peer connections. But, as far as just having, like, two teams playing offline with no stream going, it seems to be pretty good. So we do get the two White Kings moving up. The Undead going to be taking the initial stranglehold on the objective. We do see the Spearmen moving to the side point, and some Skink cohorts moving to the other side as well. There's going to be a response of some zombies moving there. Zombies will lose the Skink cohorts, though, in a sustained grind, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like the Undead maybe looking to move out here. We get Ushapti Great Bows. We get Blood Knights coming out as well. The Knights of the Red Keeper coming. Okay, so they are going to be contesting the side points. I wasn't sure if they were going to be doing like a big, disgusting blob fight. Easy workaround, run a LAN party. Yeah, I know. If only, like, okay, so looking at this game, I think Takoyaki and Kark live in Korea, and I think Menacing Platypus lives somewhere in the west, I think like East Coast, and Stingers, I think is somewhere West Coast, I'm not sure. So, yeah, running a LAN event would be very, very tough. I don't even know how, if I had my own dedicated servers, I don't even know how we would integrate that. Like, I have no idea. Like, that is beyond my abilities. That is beyond my abilities. Yeah, have a slumber party at the house, that's right. So Undead grabbing onto the point initially, but very good ambush here. The Umbral Tide from the dreaded Menacing Platypus. doing some really good damage, actually nuking these Cryptors, and it looks like a couple models are going to be going down there. So yeah, the fire damage is really nice. Anti-large fire damage is basically a designed hard counter against Cryptors, right? And now the Dread Saurian is in. Uh-oh, Helmengorst. You could be in a little bit of danger here. Helmengorst going to be getting attacked by the Dread Saurian, but Cryptors are going to be rushing in. And Cryptors are a pretty common answer against Dread Saurian. They don't kill it quickly, but they have enough mass and poison and armor piercing that they can grind it down over the course of a long, long fight, right? So Dread Saurian causing some havoc, just attacking in the front lines, being attacked by the White Kings and company. We get some Carrion coming in. Looks like the Carrion wanted to go after the Umbral Tide. We'll see if they do. On the far side point, we do see the Undead using their very cost-effective cavalry. These are the Nehekar Horsemen, and they're going to be clearing off the Skink cohorts, which means this objective is going to be going for the Undead. It initially was captured by the Dinos, but the Undead are going to get this point pretty quickly. As far as the middle goes, it is controlled by the Undead as well, and side objective by the Undead. So the Undead do open up with a triple cap, which is really, really not good. Although, no, the Lizards still have this one, but it is going to be a triple cap very, very soon. Now back to objective 2. Casket of Souls in the tree line. Grand Hierophant Katep dropping the sick beats. Be getting some anti-infantry crowd clearing. Necropolis Knights going to be attacking Phoenix Guard. The High Elves do bring in the Phoenix Guard, and it's not going to be a good fight for the big cap here. The Phoenix Guard, once they stand up from that charge, should be able to get some good damage in. But the problem is, guys, is the Helmengorst. The Gortys engine is going to be really wrecking the Elven infantry here. And look at this! The Dread Saurian's getting annihilated. Oh my god, brutal. Brutal. Okay, guys. Chosen of the Gods and Ushabti Grapos are just dunking on the Dread Saurian. And that's very much how it was in 1v1 as well. When you used to play that matchup in land battles, if you tried to go with the Dread Saurian, usually there would be always like 2 or 3 Ushabti Grapos and Sepulchral Stalkers. So it doesn't go terribly well. But Necropolis Knights in the back, just cycle charging, keeping the Phoenix Guard at bay. Pretty much all the big beasts of the Elves and Lizards are kind of getting wrecked by the Grapos a little bit. Oh my god, the Fiery Convocation from the Elves! Here it comes. That's going to cook a bunch of undead. Very, very nice. It looks like it does, roast up some of these Tomb Guard as well as these Grave Guard. That was a beautiful cast for sure. Now, on the side objective, this one's being contested. We do see it being owned by the Undead, but we have Spearmen, White Lines of Crace, as well as some White Lines of Crace here, clearing out these Tomb Guard units over time. So this objective could go back to the Elves. Looking on the side point, the Undead have a full stranglehold on Objective 3, and there's no hope of the Lizards and Elves getting that point. So it's really good to be playing for Objectives 1 and Objective 2 as well. So the Dread Saurian is retreated. I do like this play. Moving back through the tree line and now going to be making its way over to the side point. Really, really good positioning here from the Platypus. The Platypus getting all these Salamanders to support and deal with the Cryptors is probably going to be allowing the Elves to take this objective. So great maneuvering here is going to be giving this objective most likely to the Order Tide. As the Dread Saurian comes in, Spear Saturate, and it looks like the capture weight's going to be flipping pretty soon. And Stingers and Platypus will probably be getting this point. Now, as far as the middle goes, it's really just the Undead show. As a matter of fact, there's only a couple living units left. We do have some Phoenix Guard desperately fighting here with their halberds, obviously not doing bad. Rock Drop coming down from the Palhawks and Sentinels, able to get some damage on the Sternsman, not bad at all. Your boy Imrik going for gooning in the backfield. Imrik kills Katep. He comes in and just kills Katep in like 10 seconds. Oh my god, Imrik with the steel chair. Do you have any buffs popped? He didn't, but the Blood Knights are coming for him. Oh man, and Imrik gets back up in the sky. Very, very close, but Imrik with a big, big play. Killing Katep is huge. That's going to be taking away quite a bit of value from the army as we do get another Fiery Convocation and Breath Attack coming down, insta-killing those Graveguard Great Weapons basically, down to about 20%, and it looks like the Elves and the Lizards might be getting their way back into this game. As they do take the side objective here, we see the White Lines of Crace and the Spearmen doing an excellent job. Some Blood Knights coming in, but the Blood Knights will get wrecked by the Spears and White Lines of Crace. And killing Katep and also getting those really, really nice combos in the middle, we do see a little bit of a glimmer of a comeback here for the Forces of Order, as things were looking a little bit bleak for sure for a minute. So Rangers moving up, White Lines of Crace chewing through the Nehekar Horsemen. Helmengorst, he needs to be killed. Helmengorst has a pretty good quality Mortis engine, I think it's 24, yeah, 16 to 32. So Festus is 12 to 24, but the Vampire Counts have the big Mortis engine. So does Kugath. Kugath is 24 to 36, I think. I think Kugath has one of the best Mortis engines in the game, but Helmengorst also does, so you need to deal with him. And the backfield Pterodon Riders coming in and junking on the Chosen of the Gods, so going to be able to target them for a hot minute as the Undead summoning in reinforcements of infantry, so Graveguard and Tomb Guard. But they are starting to lose a little bit of momentum here. Granted, Helmengorst is hard carrying the middle. The fact that he can't be dealt with and nothing has been able to get in there and snipe him is a big factor. Now the Dread Saurian's healed up. Looks like there's going to be a big AoE spell going down here. We'll have to see. It could be a banishment. Yep, looks like a banishment going down from the Order Tide as the Shredder of Lustria makes its way back into the battle, and it's going to be trying to make its way towards Helmengorst to deal with him. All the Cryptors piling into the Dread Saurian. Dread Saurian is about healing capped, It's probably not going to be seeing it, making any big comebacks from here. Salamander's in position, going to be blasting away into the Cryptors, I would imagine, trying to wear down the support. Because without the Cryptors, the Vampire counts don't really have mass here, which means Helmengorst could effectively be sniped. But right now, Helmengorst is heavily protected. Sepulchral Stalkers getting big damage here, though, using their laser beams on their heads to shoot into the Shredder of Lustria. And that thing is getting nuked also by the Ushabti Great Bows in the back. They're in guard mode. There's two Ushabti. There's one here. There's one here. And the Shredder of Lustria is getting Shadow Realms. Okay, now the turning of the tide has come back here for the forces of the undead, I think. That is a power play. As the Shredder just went from like 11, 12,000 HP down to like 3.9. So it just got absolutely smoked by the undead shooting there. Crazy, crazy stuff. On the far side, Imric just trying to clean out the scrap. So it looks like he's battling some Blood Knights. Backed up by Feral Cold Ones, trying to take down the White King here. I think if they had brought Imric to maybe try, no, but with the Ushabti Great Bows there, you'd probably suffer the same fate. Colossodon Hunters coming in, pretty good summon here from the Menacing Platypus. Stingers, of course, doing a great job with Imric this game. The Star Lance makes him an absolute beast. Colossodon Hunters will do very well against Blood Knights if the Blood Knights don't get the charge on them. And it looks like the Elven Tide and the Order Tide holding on to the side point. The White Lines of Grace have been very cost effective, but I think the time of the Elves on the side point probably is over. So White Lions of Cray still battling, but, Graveguard Great Weapons with Corpse Cart support and a Cryptor, that's going to be very, very rough. And Colossodon Hunters are hot on their tail, but overall, I think the Elves are going to be crumbling here. As far as the middle goes, looks like the Undead have a nice stranglehold. Side objective, nobody wants to deal with this shit. Triple Zombie and an Unholy Lodestone buffing the zombies is going to make them very obnoxious to get rid of. Sepulchral Stalkers, man, that shooting, the undead shooting has been absolutely disgusting this game. It's been very, very good. Takoyaki's target priority with the Ushabti and those other units has been impeccable. And of course, Kark has been doing a great job just tar pitting and using his Cryptors and causing all sorts of havoc. Colossodon Hunters move into the Blood Knights, but they're getting killed pretty quickly, honestly. The Cryptors still do good damage against them, and the Blood Knights are anti-large, so they're able to kind of drag them down. And that is probably going to be the beginning of the end here for the Order Tide. Losing the Colossodon Hunters, having the Dread Saurian healing capped, a couple big expensive power pieces that are the things that need to kind of switch your momentum back are going to be a tricksy Hobbit for sure. So Graveguard continuing to hustle up. On the middle objective, we do see the Undead Tides continuing to fight. Imric with the Chad plays. Great stuff here from Stingers all game. He's been doing a great job. Imric's sitting at about 3,000 value, so he's certainly in the territory of paying for himself. But these Sepulchral Stalkers, man, they're probably at 3,000 value themselves. Let's see. No, only 1,700. Wow. Another unit of Blood Knights coming in. Blood Knights do get on top of Imric. It's going to be a fair amount of anti-large damage, but it is a rock hard triple cap. The Order Tide trying its best. Dread Saurian moving in, but the Dread Saurian is just trapped up by Cryptor, so not going to be a terribly good engagement for them. I really love the Salamander play this game, but also a very good response from the Undead. Using Carrion to chase down the Salamanders is incredibly annoying to deal with, and that is going to be a victory for the Undead as the Order Tide taps out, and the Undead will be advancing on to the finals to face the dreaded Ogre Mercenaries. So, let's put up a poll. Do you guys think the Undead will reign tyrannical and win the Grand Finals? Will the Undead win the finals? A lot of people seem to think they're nigh unbeatable. Yes or no, but I would be curious to see what you guys think here. So, looking at the value, Takoyaki, good stuff, classic Tomb Kings, just great bows and cap support, giving things that the Undead need. 2,500, 1,900, great stuff for Kark's army. Helmengorst is Mortis engineing down everything as well. Yeah, very, very good. But the Mortis engine isn't why they won that game. It was the great bows. Blood Knights were also really good. 1,400, 1,700, incredible stuff. Now for Singers, Imric was a beast. 3,000 value, Imric did very good. Phoenix Guard didn't do badly, but they're just going to die to a Mortis, right? Shredder of Lustria, despite being focused heavily, still got 2,600 value. 700 here. And we do see the Menacing Platypus, 2,400, and decent value from the other Salamanders as well. Great players. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Let's make it official on the old bracket. And now it's going to be the Undead facing off against the Ogre Mercenaries. Once again, we have an RTK team facing off against the Korean team. The rivalry is being formed. Let us see how this goes. It looks like 65% of you guys so far think that the Undead will be winning in the finals. Well, let us see if your predictions are correct. So the finals are best of 3. I think best of 3 finals a little bit more epic. If it were just best of 1, it'd be kind of like, oh, it's over already? So, always fun to catch your streams right after work. Hey, happy to hear that, Ryan. Hope work was well for you, brother. And we're going on to the grand finals now. Trust in the Grease. The Grease could come, I guess. Yeah, Greasus against Undead, not bad. He gives leadership. He gives ward save. Blob fights are obviously very common. Are the factions locked for the whole tournament? Yes. They are locked for the whole tournament. It's kind of like, can we permaban that map for Undead? Which one? The Undead, or that map is not like the best for Undead. Undead probably like a Celestial Lake map more, in my opinion. All right. So, game 1 of the grand finals. Let's fire this beast up. So where are we? Okay, so the teams are going to be Yes versus Peasants Milord. All right, and the finals are best of 3. So I'm going to go grab some water real quick, guys, and we'll be getting started with the finals in just a second.
More, Lord of Death, keep our souls, lest they fall prey to him.
All right, looks like we're back in business. Let's load into game 1 here and see how this goes. Thank you guys all for joining. Let's get it going and see how this all unfolds. Yeah, it's going to be a fun match. We're on Borderlow Landing here for the first game. And it is Undead versus the Ogre Mercenaries. So here's the game 1. I think I got the nameplates correct and everything. So it is going to be Kark and his ally Takoyaki against Subutai and Ye Old Ogre Kingdoms. Yes, yes. I'm surprised we haven't seen a Vampire Coast in Tomb King's army yet. I feel like Vampire Coast in Tomb King's is going to be very, very good. Like, very, very good. Yeah. There's a lot of fun combos. I actually made a couple videos recently on powerful 2v2 combos. So they're going to be like YouTube shorts. I'm going to start doing some YouTube shorts, and they're going to be focusing on like weird strategies and synergies and things like that. So we have one on the Undead. We have one on the Empire. There's a really cool combo I wanted to show you guys, which was Slaanesh and Tzeentch. So Slaanesh and Tzeentch has an ability to give your entire army, for both players, plus 24 melee attack for like the entire game. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Basically what you do is you use the Wand of Whimsy for Tzeentch, and you use the Slaanesh army passive. And it gives you plus 24 melee attack the entire game. It's nuts. Yeah. So here it comes. The Borderlow Landing is upon us. The Undead versus the Ogre Mercenaries. Will the Mercenaries be able to save fair Bretonnia? Just imagine that Bretonnia is, being overwhelmed by the Undead, so they have to hire some Ogres to help them. That's basically what's going down. So, once again, we have the Goon Squad. Fey Enchantress, Paladin, Henri Lamassif. We have the Firebelly. We've got a bunch of Foot Squires, Grail Relique, and Iron Guts. So pretty heavy infantry army, actually. Like Foot Squires with Ogre Infantry, and then a little bit of Leadbelcher support. That seems to have been their staple for most of the series. Now, looking at the Undead Horde, it's going to be Vampire Count Infantry with a little bit of Tomb King Sphere supported in. We do have Manfred von Karstein, a Lich Priest with Nehakar to spam the spells and get the cheap healing, Ushapti Great Bows, and Necropolis Knights once again. So Ushapti Great Bows versus Leadbelchers. I don't actually know who wins in that fight. I feel like the Great Bows would win because they're unbreakable, so they would be able to kind of stay a little bit longer as well. So for the teams, it's going to be Subutai and Bretonnia and Sandwich on Ogres, and Kark and Takoyaki on the Undead. So those are all the players that are going to be here. Let me do a little bit of fast forwarding to get this party started. So, Fey Enchantress and the Paladins assembling up in the middle. The Undead. This is a map where it's very much like a fight for the center usually, because the back objectives are very tough to press. Granted, Ogres are one of the factions that can really, really get there for sure. So Iron Guts are here. Grail Relique is nearby. It looks like a little bit of Ushapti Greatbow shooting going into the Iron Guts, so great target priority. You can also hide behind this pillar if you want to. You can get like up and behind that, and you can kind of cackle and chill out. Casket of Souls with big damage. Nuking the Foot Squires and the poor Noblar Trappers, so immediately Takoyaki and Tomb King's firepower proving to be incredibly strong. Yeah, so the ogres in this tournament format have a special rule where they can ally with anybody who isn't chaos. Because that doesn't really make sense. I mean, ogres, I guess, would maybe work for chaos. I know in lore there are chaos ogres, but you know, I think it's a little bit more fluffy for ogres to work for like money. And you know, the ogres obviously don't want the world to end. You know, like they want to eat, but they don't want the entire planet to be destroyed. So I think it makes more sense that they would not work with chaos, right? Because like if the world gets ended by chaos, then like they have nothing to eat. They also end with it. So they're not like you know, chaos where they want everything to be destroyed, basically. So Fey Enchantress, Paladin, Henri Le Massif, trying to get a little bit of harrying. The Undead Horde does initially capture the middle objective. And on the back point, we do see the Ogre Kingdoms grabbing it with some Ogre Bull Iron Fist. Manfred von Karstein lurking, looking like maybe they're going to do something here. Do we see any Blood Knights? We see Fellbats coming in. Nehekar Horsemen looking to pressure the back objective. And now the Ogres are going to be colliding in the front line. So we got the Iron Guts and some Ogre Bulls battling into zombies as well as Cryptors. Cryptors do actually take a bit of damage from Ogre units. Ogre units have just high base weapon strength, and they can definitely kill Cryptors. Nice supporting fire. We got Peasant Bowmen with the fire arrows saturating in and doing some good damage against Cryptors. But we do have some sneaky snakes coming in as well. So Ogre Bulls with the Iron Fist going to be charging him. We do see the Lead Belchers opening up on these bad boys. But the Halberds are going to be super good here. And a big $100 donation from Nathan Lenz. Sir, and always glad to catch a stream live, especially the awesome format. Thanks for all the entertainment and the amazing stuff you have done for the community, for Sigmar. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. That is massive, and hopefully you enjoy this game, brother. Once again, big thank you to Nathan. And this game's for you, man. Hopefully you're ready for a great series. The backfield Maneater Grey Open's going to be peeling off these bats, and the Ogres do get absolutely plowed here by the Necropolis Knights. They are halberds and they are armored, so they're very good against basic Ogre Bull units. Blood Belcher is going to be on the retreat, and we do see more Ogre Bull dual weapons coming over, and the Maneater Great Weapons definitely need to work their way over here. Now, as far as the blob fight goes, we have a Fire Belly that's going to be the Lord for the Ogre Kingdoms. A big bombardment coming in there from Bretonia. That was going to be a Chalice of Potions. But the middle objective is still being held onto pretty firmly here by the forces of the undead. Just a lot of halberds. Ushopti Great Bow shooting is very nasty. The Maneater Great Weapons trying to push away the Necropolis Knights, but as they chase them, they're being shot down by the Ushopti Great Bows, so things are looking a little bit scary for them right there. In the backfield, Lead Belcher is forced back. Casket of Souls raining some hot fire on them. Fellbats being used to shut down the Peasant Archer reinforcements, which is a very high-level tactic, kind of intercepting these weaker units. And it seems as if the Ogres and the Bretonians are kind of struggling to get them off the point. Granted, they do have good fighting potential here. They have a lot of Foot Squires. We have Fey Enchantress, Mortis Engine. We got the Fire Belly, who's got his big pimp stick, and he's just doing some great work here. Burning Heads will also be very good against Undead. And it looks like the objective is starting to swing back to order, but then the Undead get the capture weight back. The Undead have a great presence over here. But the Undead guys also do not have a Mortis Engine here. So, like, the stability of these mortal forces isn't going to be terrible. Although Manfred with Winds of Death and Breath Attacks is quite nasty. Here comes the big Breath Attack, the Pestilent Breath from Manfred, as it does melt some of those Ogre units and also those Foot Squires, so certainly not bad at all. On the flank, the Bretonian Knights are able to stabilize a little bit, pushing back some of the Undead that did overextend. Noblar Trappers versus the Tomb Guard Halberds, a good fight for the Trappers. Going to be able to kind of tar pit them a little bit. And these Necropolis Knights, man, they've just been such a menace. They have been causing huge havoc. And what the hell's going on here? There's like a random-ass Lich Priest back here. So big surround here. The Bretonian Knights coming in. Questing Knights on top of Necropolis Knights. The Questing Knights have great weapons. They're not anti-large, but they are great weapons, and their armor piercing is going to be quite exceptional here against the old Sneaky Snake Knights. So the Sneaky Snake's going to be in some trouble, but a good response from Takoyaki. He does use the Narrow's Incantation of Protection to give them physical resist, but nonetheless, they're going to be falling as the Ogres continue to just push back against the hordes of Undead here that are pushing into their lands. And, like, they did get the middle objective, I think. Yeah, it looks like the Order Chai did pull the middle objective, ladies and gentlemen. So Subutai and Sandwich were able to get up on that middle point right there. And the Fire Belly providing the fire damage, still doing pretty well. You can see these zombies being grinded down right here, and the Crypt Horrors still just kind of chopping away here in the back as Manfred leaps in and goes after the Fire Belly. Does get a big attack there. Fire Belly starts to take a little bit of damage. Fey Enchantress dropping an Earthblood here, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Earthblood on top of the Fire Belly. Really nice healing synergy between those two factions. And over here, the fact that there's no Mortis is actually allowing the Ogres and the Bretonians to trade very well here. These Iron Guts with the Grail Relic. I love this, man. The Bretonian Grail Relics being mixed in are really underrated. Like, it's something that you wouldn't think is like a power combo, but the Grail Relic, like, giving Ogres insane leadership and immune to psychology. Okay? So any Ogre who's fighting under the banner of the Lady is going to be getting immune to psychology, which is crazy strong against Undead. Like, it almost makes you into Slanesh a little bit, which is very good, right? So the Enchantress Mortis Engine, she's probably sitting at over 1,000 value. Yep, Enchantress sitting at 1,400 value here. She does continue to bump and grind right here. Tomb Guard Halberds being worn down. Manfred trying to get the kills here, but every time he kind of lands, he's forced to retreat, I believe, by Henri Le Massif and the Green Knight. And the Order Tide still holding on to the middle objective. Looking at the backfield, we see Felbats causing some disruption. It looks like the Ushabti summon going to be used by Takoyaki in the backfield, and the Ushabti summon going to be attacking into the Leadbelchers here, which is pretty good. Definitely need to take down that shooting, and Felbats attacking dual weapon bulls is kind of an interesting choice. I think they just got caught up there. More Lance Formation Knights coming in. So Lance Formation Knights are just going to be piling onto the middle objective to get capture weight. Here we get some Questing Knights on top of Ushabti Great Bows. A beautiful play here by the Order Tide, where the Ogre Mercenaries, the Bretonnian Knights with their Great Opens, will be excellent at piercing through the 90 armor here of these Ushabti. Manfred should be able to break them off, but Questing Knights do have that sweet ITP right now, so they're going to be immune to Psychology, meaning Manfred is not going to be able to terror route them. You know, they're used to fighting monsters and going on scary quests. And yeah, man, the Order Tide really, really holding on to these 2 points. And they do actually pull the point lead from the Undead. So the Undead did have the initial point advantage, but the Order Tide's like... And do they have a Grail Relic in here as well? That would be so heavy metal. I see Henri Le Massif, I see Enchantress. I don't think I see one there as well, but... Overall, the Undead are kind of getting pushed back and are losing this grind. The immune to Psychology, the leadership effects, the Enchantress Mortis Engine, the fact that the Undead didn't bring a Mortis Engine to really win the fight here in the middle and force the Ogres and Bretonnians to deal with it. Maybe they were concerned about Peasant Archer and Leadbelcher shooting, killing Mortises. Although you could switch to like a Helm and Gorse type situation and get your benefit there. So Bretonnia does bring out some big, heavy cav. Subutai going to be running in with the Companions of Quinels, and they're going to be coming around and looking to butter some serious bread. These are one of the better anti-large cav units in the game. Massive armor-piercing values. We do see an unsummon on the Ushabti Great Bows, which was, I'd be like, okay, great. Now I can go kill something else. So your opponent gets a partial refund, but you just remove that unit from the battlefield like instantly without having to even fight it. Manfred lands in the Companions. That is a very, very dangerous one. The Companions of Quinels are going to do some big old chungus damage here to Manfred. So Manfred's going to start taking a beating here as the Companions continue to bump and grind. We go the Paladins and Henri Le Massif battling the Eyes of the Desert. Enchantress nearby, getting that good value as the Zombies and Skeletons still doing some excellent work. Cryptor's back here, a little bit overextended. The Bretonnian Grail Knights on their way in. Lance is out for the lady. And the Ogres holding him down. Awesome teamwork here as the Ogre Mask keeps them at bay. And then the Bretonnian Cavalry charge through the big fat Ogre bodies and get that solid anti-large damage, which just crumbles the Undead in this position. Now, looking at the value here, we can see the combined value of the Bretonnians and the Ogres is closing in on about 19,000-20,000, whereas it's about 18,000 for the Undead. Granted, the Undead have a massive amount of healing. And now we see a Mortis Engine coming in as well. Okay, so the Mortis Engine on its way to the middle. Certainly going to be very good. Most of the units here are very, very susceptible to that, and the Undead do have a bit of a second wave coming in. So we got Zombies, we got Graveguard. That Mortis could turn the tide of the battle. Now, Ogre's looking to get an objective theft on the side. I love this play. Little things like this can totally win games, especially in the 2v2 format. It's, you know, you can combine your forces and get these like really, really crazy back objective caps and things like that. Manfred and company and some Necropolis Knights Halberds doing a great job, so they're cleaning off the side objective here. The Bretonnian Knights going to have a pretty bad time between Manfred and the Necropolis Knight Halberds. Do they flip the objective? It doesn't quite look like they're going to. The Gyre Pack also gets in here. Going to be able to chew on these Novelar Trappers pretty easily. And at the end of the day, it looks like the Undead are going to be holding on to that point, which is very important. If they got triple capped, it might be a little bit hard for them to get that back. Now, the Undead making a play to try and get this back point. They did send some Tomb Guard Halberds over here as well. And the Novelar Trappers able to get their little ninja stars into the Tomb Guard here. We got Peasant Archers. So these Tomb Guard probably going to end up dying. And I think the Man-Eaters going to be making their way over to the middle objective. And I think the Ogre Order Tide Alliance should be able to hang on to this one. Yeah, just the combined firepower against the 55 armor is getting there. Middle objective still controlled by the Order Tide. Enchantress and her Paladin still grinding through all the mess here. We do see the Mortis Engine doing good work now. This Mortis Engine probably already up to about 500 value, although it is fighting Ogre units, so maybe not that much even. Let's look. We see the Mortis Engine sitting at 460 value, so I was a little bit correct in my assessment. But Leadbelchers with the triple gold chevrons, man, 1100 value, getting beautiful damage into the Mortis. Manfred, realizing how big of a threat these Leadbelchers are, goes for them, but he is intercepted by the big, thick Iron Guts. That's what's really cool about Ogres. They're so good at defending their shooting because all their units are so high mass that like they can block you from pursuing things. The Firebelly, very beat up, but leading the boys to battle. Looks like there's going to be a big burning head coming down from the Firebelly. Very nice. Going to be cooking a bunch of these Undead, but that Mortis Engine needs to be stopped. It could flip the middle objective back for the forces of the Undead. Currently owned by Bretonnia. Back objective? Uh-oh, they might have blundered here, guys. This is a big blunder. This objective flipping for the Undead is a colossal mistake. They should have sent an ogre unit over there. Honestly, this could be a throw right here. Like letting giving the undead more time to grind and heal and accrue value against you is a colossal mistake. Nakar Horsemen get over here. Ogre Bulls are nearby, but it looks like the undead are going to get this point back. Ogres are kind of having a panic response, so we do see Sandwich with a good response, but a little bit late with 2 Ogre Bull units. But every single point matters in these games. Oftentimes against undead, you need to get to the point where you can win on a single cap and just, hope they can't grind you fast enough off that back point. But the undead do ninja the back point with that 1 Tomb Guard Halberd. A potential throw, but we'll have to see. Now, the one really cool part about this composition between Bretonnia and Ogres as well is that Ogre units don't really give a shit about Mortises. They have a very low model count, so Mortis engines are actually trash against Ogre Kingdoms. Very good against Bretonnian chap, but the Ogres maintain the capture weight, but very, very nice Ushop di Grepo play, guys. The double Ushop di Grepos are back. One of them did use all of its ammos, that 2100 value. The other Ushop di Grepo is here and teeing off into the Ogre units, but look at the Grail Relique! I can't believe these things have 40 speed. Dude, the guys carrying this thing are just Olympic track stars. But they're going to be giving all these nearby Ogre units like an insane amount of leadership and immunopsychology, so you won't be able to kind of terror route them. Otherwise, a Mortis engine coming in and getting a rear charge into them could 100% terror route them off the point, right? But in this case, it's not going to be happening so easily. So Fey Enchantress rear charging into the Mortis might be able to kind of drag that thing down with her dreaded Unicorn. But this objective could be flipping for the undead. The back cap, it looks like the Ogre Kingdoms got their point back, but letting the undead get that point buffer certainly gives them a much better chance, because now, if the undead capture the middle objective soon, they might be able to just win on 2 points because the game is close enough. Whereas if this back objective hadn't been decapped like this, the Ogres might have enough with the Bretonnians to have one on just 1 point, and they could just fall back, and it would basically be just game over, right? So we'll have to see. Fey Enchantress finishing off the Mortis engine. Her Unicorn, Henri Le Massif, getting the Massacre buff from the Ogre Kingdoms. Ogre Bulls piling in, trying to maintain that capture weight, trying to maintain that lead here, as we do see the Order Chide, the Knights of the Lionhearted, charging in and battling into these units. Undead, Ushop di Grepo still getting great firepower. Nehakar Horsemen trying to get around the backfield, probably to shut down some of the shooting. Or, Peasant Archers, different things like that, Lead Belchers. But this objective is pretty firmly controlled. A single unit of Ogre Bulls will be tough to remove, and they will hold it long enough where you can get that momentum back. But the Fey Enchantress straight up killed that Mortis engine. Dude, she is such a good character. Currently sitting at 4,000 value on the Fey. We do have Knights of the Lionhearted with anti-large, embroiled in hard battle here versus the undead. But there are Tomb Guard Halberds here. The Tomb Guard Halberds obviously going to be super good against the Bretonnian army. And I think the undead starting to get a little bit of momentum here. Looks like they have a lot of stuff, and the Bretonnian army is being held together with glue and sticks right now. The Grail Relique is really what's doing it. Most of these Bretonnians would probably, and Ogres, would be on the cusp of breaking and or getting terror routed, by that Mortis engine earlier, if it weren't for the Grail Reliques. But the Grail Relique, we got one here, we have another one here as well, and they're just holding it down, dude. They are going strong. Patrick Bowman, cash for the content throne. Thank you so much, Patrick. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Sigmar bless you, brother. And once again, really appreciate it. Battle continues on in your honor, as the Fey Enchantress valiantly holds back the horde of the undead. Back objective is being controlled by the undead. Yeah, looks like they got some skeleton spears who are going to be able to hold that down. And really, it's going to be a battle over the middle objective. The undead are going to need a triple cap at this point, though. By the time they would be able to get anything, they would really need a triple cap. And if they got a triple cap, that would be pretty nuts. Questing Knights are sitting in the wings. I do like this. Like, the middle seems that the Ogres and the Bretonnians have enough cap weight there that they're fine. So having a Questing Knight park on the back objective is a really, really smart play. So great foresight there by Subutai. Really, really good foresight. Lich Priest of Neakara hanging out on his horse, just chilling. Undead still grinding, but the Fey Enchantress, just the spearhead of the Ogre mercenaries here, sitting at 5,000 value. Dweller's Blow is not banned. We don't have anything banned in this. I am trying my hardest not to ban specific abilities. No, we don't want any of that. That's what's great about domination. We don't have to ban anything really. You just kind of plug and play. Everybody's kind of playing the same game. There's not different rule sets and things like that. Looking here, let's see this objective, dude. Just rock hard held, and guys, there's no way the undead's gonna get this back. Big bombardments though. That Casket of Souls, Grand Hierophant Kotz up there is a thing of beauty for sure. But at the end of the day, guys, this one is looking like it's gonna be favoring the Order Tide and the Ogres. The mercenaries have succeeded in liberating the Bretonnian village, which was under siege by the undead. The Fey Enchanter is hiring some local ogres, and they have crushed the undead. But again, this is best of 3. The undead will be back for vengeance. They will rise once again. And the battle for the old world will continue on as we go to game 2. Impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. Really, really good teamwork, man. Really, really good teamwork. All right. So, let us take a look here. Let's find this. Go to the old scorecards and look at the values as well. For the lady, everybody's saying the undead OP unbreakable, but you know, being beaten by two factions that aren't considered to be top tier. So, another great battle indeed, but this is only game 1 in the best of 3 series here in the grand finals. Okay, so first game goes to Peasants Milord. If they win the next game, it closes out the series. More people died defending the village than living there. You know, it's about sending a message. Fey Enchantress carried that game. 5,000 value. Nuts. The Foot Squires, though, with the chevrons and the Grail Reliques also carried very well. Subachai's Cav did decently. Let's take a look at the Ogres. Firebelly, really good stuff. 1,900 value. Leadbelchers kind of got shut down, but the Ogres gave the mass that was needed to stop the undead. Really, really good stuff from the Man-Eaters, too. Look at them. They champed it, man. They champed it super hard. It was great teamwork all around. I feel like, I wonder what Kark and Takoyaki will do to change it up. Like, how are they going to rearrange their army comp to deal with this? Yeah, should be quite a bit of fun. Kotep coming in, getting about 1,800 value as well. And now let's go ahead and switch this up here and take a look. All right. And where are we? Okay, so 1 second here. Checking this out and getting the next replay all set up for you guys in this best of 3 series. So that was game uno. What do you say 1 in Japanese? I think it's ichi. Yeah, that's what it is. Started watching Cobra Kai again last night. So much fun. That show is so great. If you guys haven't seen Cobra Kai, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Yep, looks like that was game 1. Let me do this. Okay. Yeah, Ichi, Sanshi, Go, Loku, Roku. Yeah, I can't remember. I used to know how to count in Japanese, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time getting from here to there. Okay. So checking here. Just need to make sure got the settings all correct, refilling my water as well. So let me just take a quick break and get this water. My throat, I'm having some allergies today, so throat's a little bit dry, so gonna go grab some water, guys. In the meantime, we'll play the Haggard trailer once more.
More, Lord of Death, keep our souls, lest they fall prey to him.
All right, guys, I'm back. Got my water filled, and we are about good to go. So just getting the replays all set up, like I said. And there we are. Okay. And it is showtime. It's been a long time. Yeah, that was the Star Trek song. Yeah, correct. That was the Star Trek song. Yeah. Did they? Hold on a sec. Did they play? I think there's something. I'm making sure the replays aren't like bugged because this looks a little strange. Okay, so switching that back and forth here. Yeah, okay. So let's find this one out. 1 sec here. Got to make sure it was sent to me correctly. Yeah, just one of the one replay was labeled strangely. So I'm having to dig through all the replays from the earlier rounds to find this next one. So just bear with me for a second. We'll find it eventually. We will find it eventually, my friend. Okay, so there we go. And where are we at? Should be somewhere in ye old Discord. Okay, so there we go. Round 3. Where are those replays at? There we go. Okay, I think they're there. Okay, got that and that. Perfect. All right, I think I found it. How do you join the Discord? We have plenty of mods in chat, and they can drop you an old link if need be. So they got you covered. Okay, so this is going to be this one. Okay. Okay, perfect. Almost ready. Sorry about the delay, my friends. A little mislabeling on the old replay. Got us slowed down here. Okay, I think we're back in business. Yeah, AoE like punishment spells like Dwellers Below, Cleansing Rune, like we've seen like every single Skaven player basically bring those type of things, right? Yeah, we've seen that be a pretty common thing. All right, so looks like we're loading back in. This is going to be game 2, and we are going to be on the Nuln Outskirts. It's a really cool map. It actually has a capturable tower that shoots arrows, and it can make a difference in a very close fight. It doesn't do like an insane amount of damage, but it still gets the job done. It still gets the job done. I'm just waiting on a Sword of Khorne landing in the middle of one of these mega blobs. I don't know. Pwn might have gotten one in our games. I might have missed it. What's the trailer's title? It's just a compilation of stuff I threw together with a little bit of music. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. Cav says, love what you do for the community. Certainly deserve it. Hey, thank you, man. Certainly deserve a gift from CA. I know, that's what I'm saying too. No, but we're all good here. Just happy to have you guys here. So Nuln Outskirts is the map, ladies and gentlemen. The Duel of Fates is upon us. And let's see if the Undead can come back. Undead did drop the first game, so if the Undead lose this one, it's just game over. The Order Tide will be emerging victorious. The last event was won by the Order Tide as well. It was won by Bretonnia and Wood Elves. Bretonnia proving to be a very, very strong force of nature in this format. Fey Enchantress, I think, is a big variable. Alexander says, promise the units that need to be changed buffed video in Warhammer 3. Yeah, I could actually do that. If you just shoot me a message in Discord, Alexander, if you can, and just remind me. Just say, like, reminder, this video. My mind's all over the place. I cover a bunch of games and so many different events that I get, like, hyper-focused on things. All right, guys. Nuln Outskirts, Objective 1, Objective 2, Objective 3, capturable tower up on the top. Now, looking right here, we do have the Lamian Vampire Lord. We have the Terra Goose, and they switched up the army a little bit. Yeah, it looks like it's Necropolis Knights with Halberds, Sepulchral Stalkers, opening with the Mortis Engine here in this game. And the Lich Priest of Nehakara as well. All right. Taking a look here at the Bretonnian army. Fey Enchantress, double Paladin. One of them is going to be Henri Le Massif. Very standard, very meta. And Greasus Goldtooth. Greasus is here. He's rolling on his old motor scooter. Noblar Trapper is going to be following up as well. And no Leadbelchers in the opening army this time. No Leadbelchers in the opening army. So give him $10 from Applebee's. Yes, that's what I truly deserve. That's a pretty legendary story. Yeah, it's good times. All right, so Fey Enchantress is back. Paladin's kind of chilling out. And it looks like these two Paladins going to be just eyeing the prize here. The Goon Squad's quite scary. Lamian Vampire Lord plus the Terra Goose certainly could cause quite a bit of havoc. And of course, since it's a replay, we can do some fast forwarding while the two armies posture. Just some juking from the flying monsters. Cryptor is moving up, and the capturable tower is going to go to the Undead. So the tower will start shooting. It doesn't do a lot of damage. You can see here it's going to be blasting across. I think it will shoot, and let's actually see what kind of damage we get. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's very inaccurate, and it does very little damage. But, I mean, it can make a difference. Like, if a character is very low or something's close to crumbling, you can definitely get the job done that way. Outside objective, it looks like there's going to be some brave foot squires going over there, but the foot squires could be a little bit of a misplay. If the Undead end up grabbing these Cryptors and going over here, they could 100% Hulk smash on those foot squires, and those guys could just have a really, really bad time. But Undead still maintaining the capture weight here, although the Bretonnians trying to get it. You can see they have the Noblar Trappers up here. Noblar Trappers actually don't do badly against Cryptors. With their little ninja stars, they can definitely do some work. And the Undead thinking about landing there, but it looks like they kind of pull back. And now the Fey and the double Paladin squad going to be jumping in. And these Cryptors also being shot by fire arrows. But the Undead coming in with the Lamian Vampire Lord as well. Lamian Lord and the Goose Lord on their way in. But overall, Greasus Goldtooth is nearby too, so he's going to be able to debuff. Everyone has their price. So the melee attack of the Lamian Vampire Lord is debuffed. And the Sky Striders are on their way in. Order Tide going to be causing some havoc here for sure. As the Vampire characters are a little bit trapped up, but the Undead do also have reinforcements coming in as well. with the Tomb Guards, as well as the Necropolis Knight Halberds, which could change the dynamic of this fight, as now the Sky Striders are a little bit sandwiched. They're getting hit by a lot of anti-large, but Noblar Trappers with their Ninja Stars doing great damage here. On the low ground, we do have a little bit of loose fighting. Mortis Engine, Cryptors, and some zombies have moved in, so this objective could actually be swung to the Undead if that Mortis Engine is allowed to saturate and really get its money's worth. We'll have to see. Back objective, we got Skeleton Spearman and Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone heading to objective 3 to grab that. And the Lamian Lord is really beat up here. John Evans for the next wrist surgery. No, I don't need any more wrist surgeries. I'm good. Thank you for the donation. I've already had friggin' 2 of them, so. And now my hands are getting better, slowly but surely. They're getting there. It's a long road to recover when you have like nerve damage, but it's getting there. Companions of Quinel is also grinding here. Basically just a big disgusting blob fight, but the entire blob for the Order Child does have ward save from Greasus. But the Undead, of course, have that constant healing. They have the big scary dragon monsters up in the sky. Looks like the breath attack, nice breath attack right there, melts the Ogre Bulls. They got absolutely crushed by that. Sepulchral Stalkers up on the high ground shooting it as well, and the Tomb Guard Halberds able to eventually melt through those units after the breath attack really gives them the business. Now, Fey Enchantress as well as the Paladins doing a good job there, able to take some big HP off the Necropolis Knights, but low ground objective could be a little bit scary. The fact that the Mortis is able to just kind of free flow here is very strong. However, there are a lot of Ogre Bulls here, and like I said earlier, Ogre Bulls don't really care too much about the Mortis Engine effects. Peasant Archers, though, in the distance being summoned in. We got Pox Arrows taking down these Cryptors here. We got Fire Arrows shooting into them as well. Definitely should be shooting the Mortis Engine. But even still, shooting the Cryptors isn't a bad idea by any stretch of the imagination. Being held onto by the Ogres, who have a ton of capture weight there. At this point, Foot Squires, honestly, Foot Squires probably win this. Foot Squires will be able to defeat the Skeleton Spears and maybe even take down the Corpse Guard if it's just left to its own devices. The Undead need to get some Cav or some Cryptors here. Looks like Blood Knights are coming, so Blood Knights will eradicate these Foot Squires if they get the big charge there as well. So shots through the Harch, and you're too late. You gave the Undead a bad name as the Cryptors do get taken apart here. Mortis Engine still continuing to drain right here, and we do see copious amounts of Undead, so it's going to be Skeleton Spears all over the place. Mortis Engine draining, but Ogres holding the objective very valiantly. But it still is a double cap. Do the Undead have it? Yeah, no, it looks like it's a double cap for the Order Child. So the Order Child holding on to this one. Companions of Quinel's moving out there. Anti-large, armor piercing, Fey Enchantress, as well as Henri La Massif getting a nice bump and grind here into the Sepulchral Stalkers. Here we do see the Necropolis Knights with Halberds just chewing through whatever they can, but being a little bit tar-pitted by the Noblar Trappers, which is very annoying. It's Greasus time. It's just holding, man. Greasus is doing an excellent job on this objective. He's just kind of chilling out, providing the ward save to his homies. And Greasus at about half health, so a little bit unfortunate for him, but he has accrued a whopping 300 value so far, so certainly not messing around. Now, this could be a game-losing play for the Order Tide, potentially. They're a little bit overextended in Undead territory, and we do see the Fey Enchantress with her companions being on death's bed. And we see a Tomb Prince, we see Necropolis Knights, we see the Vampire Lord, the Fae is trapped, Henri La Massif is trapped, a lot of scary stuff going down here, and this could be the end of the road here for the Order Tide's aggressive vanguard. Oh my god, you guys, jeez, Dungeon, thank you so much, $100! Best caster, thank you for all the content over the years, been watching since Warhammer 2 came out, also you should try D&D sometime. Dude, I cannot thank you enough, you guys are just way too generous, that is huge, and pertaining to D&D, I love the fighting in D&D, but I can't get too much behind the role-playing. Dude, thank you so much. That is so generous of you. And, oh man, again, thank you for supporting multiplayer and the channel and everything. So thank you. I can say it. Of course I could say Dungeon Idiots, but, I'm just trying to, I don't know if he wants me to call him. I don't know. But thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Chalice of Potions, big bombardment going down on the Tomb Guard Halberds. Fey Enchantress still draining, but that fight was pretty scary over here. You get some Ogre Bulls moving in once again. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, no, there's some things. YouTube is definitely like getting stricter on things that you say on your channel, like much stricter, but like things like that are typically fine. But yeah, YouTube is definitely cracking down, but I've never been a particularly like, I don't curse a lot or anything. It's mainly just like innuendos, things like that. So we're safe here. All of our Haggard shit is shrouded in language and vocabulary. You want the Howard Dean yell? Here you go. There you go, Howard Dean for you. Cheers, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that donation, man. So we got a triple cap for the Undead. They were able to take over the bottom objective. Foot Squires are routed. Cryptors and Corpse Cart able to get that. The back objective firmly in the control of the Undead. And I think there was maybe a little bit of an overextension here. Like the Fey Enchantress and her goon squad got a little bit surrounded, and then the Ogres had to come up to support. They're fighting very heavily over this tower, which I don't think is even that impactful. I feel like the tower on this map is a little bit underrated. Dude, oh my god, you guys. I guess I just have to support. Dude, Matthew, thank you, thank you. I don't even know what to say, man. Thank you so much. I guess I just have to support my favorite channel. Thank you, dude. And I promise you guys, we got a lot of fun stuff coming this year. We're going to be continuing to just go ham on this game. Company of Heroes, Blood Bowl. I'm going to be starting a tabletop channel. Professor Pone and my wife and I are going to be starting a podcast as well. Lots of fun stuff. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate that. I'm getting some Applebee's tonight, baby. We're going to go get like some terrible microwave diner food. It's on, baby. It's on. So the fight continues here. Like, the Bretonian Ogre grind is like okay. It seems like they're doing like okay work here, but like Double Stalker and Grapos just pounding them. And they're also not fighting over any points. Like, they need to be fighting over the objective. So I think a lot of this, even though the value isn't like the worst thing in the world, it's like they're not fighting somewhere that really matters, right? They're not. They're just kind of chilling out here. Oh, man. So we moved out of Los Angeles a while back. And the hot dog joint, there was a hot dog store like 5 blocks from my house I used to walk to. And, oh, the Maw! The Maw coming in and ripping through those guys. But I don't have any good hot dog places near me anymore, so I'm going to buy Applebee's with all these donations. I could definitely buy some Applebee's. Yes. So once again, Eyes of the Desert still nuking. Vampire Lord coming in. Greasus is on death's bed. Fey Enchantress is beat up. Paladins are trapped in spears and halberds. The Undead basically just have full control over this game. So a very, very dominant victory for the Undead, I think. I don't think there's going to be any potential comeback. Scared of ducks, man. Thank you. Sheesh, I mean, if everyone's doing it, thank you. Is that... I'm trying to see what your picture is. I can't quite tell if that's like from the Goonies or if that's something else. Thank you so much. For a second, I read your name. It said "Scared of Ducks," and I thought it said something different. I was like, "Oh my god, am I gonna have to read this name?" It's like a conundrum. It's so generous, but then if the name is like vulgar, oh my god, ducks! Thank you so much. Ducks are scary creatures, dude. They are. I got attacked by, I think it was a goose when I was a kid. We were at like a lake house, and we can do a little bit of fast forwarding. I honestly don't think there's any chances. Like, the Undead have such a stranglehold. We do see a decent like attempt down here as Knights of the Lionheart to try and get this point back with their spears, zombies, and a corpse cart, and Crypt Horrors who can easily stop them. On the other side, we have the Crypt Horrors fighting, as well as the Terror Goose. Like, a decent resurgence of peasant archers wearing things down, but the points lead for the Undead is really substantial now, and it's not going to be easy to get him back. And the character that you need to carry you, like, out of these blob fights is trapped up here in zombies and skeletons. Like, the Fae needs to be doing something a little bit more productive. She's basically just chilling here and, grinding with insignificant units that she's eventually going to lose to, as a matter of fact, because there's halberds. And now the Undead can basically just rotate down. They can come just down and around here, and they can just do so much work. Dude, Ducks, thank you so much. Again, all of you guys for your donations. I can't thank you enough. On behalf of my wife and I, just sincerely want to thank you guys one more time. So, cheers, my friends. Cheers. I will eat some Applebee's in your honor, although I don't know if we have an Applebee's near us. So that is going to be it, I think. I mean, the Order Tide might be able to get their home objective back. The Mortis Engine retreats. The Ushopti Grapos and Stalkers are in great shape. Looking at the combined value of the Undead, it's like 24,000, whereas the combined value of the Order Tide is going to be around 18, 19. And with the healing advantage that the Undead have, the Undead are massively ahead in pretty much every facet of this game. So I think this warrants a fast forward here. I think that Fey Enchantress is going to come back. They might be able to desperately wrestle this objective back, but the Undead could also pile in with all their shit and maybe even win a grind fight right here as well. And that's going to be game blouses as well. Cody says, Turin, if you ever manage to visit Alaska, International House of Hot Dogs. Are you serious? That's actually a thing? Oh my god. Man, thank you guys again. International House of Hot Dogs is not real, is it, Cody? Are you trolling me? International House of Hot Dogs. Do I have to go to that and just film it? We have to. That would be pretty legendary. Guys, thank you again for all those donations. Thank you so much. And here we are. Game 2 going to the villains. Will the Undead come back? GG. The Undead, getting to the finals in our first 2 Grand Alliance events, but not having an easy time. It's pitched fights. So really, the Undead forced a blob fight on the tower. They trapped the Fey Enchantress and the Ogre characters there, and they just grabbed all 3 of the other objectives and cackled. They had amazing Ushopti Grapo play, great Stalker play, and yeah, that was basically it. So we're going on to Game 3. I don't believe it. You can Google the menu. Hold on a sec. I'm looking this up right now. No way this is real. Oh my god, it's real. It's in Anchorage, Alaska. Oh my God, look at the hot dogs on these guys. Jeez. I'm on their website right now. Oh my God, they have so many different kinds of hot dogs. That's crazy. It's real, dude. It's real. Applebee's sponsored by Ogre Stream. I know, it's coming. All right, so let's get the last game going. We'll load into the replay here. This is game 3. This is for all the marbles, ladies and gentlemen. And this is on the road to Val's Anvil. So let's get it going. Haggard Peasant Dono for the extra bread at Applebee's. I'm going to get those breadsticks in your honor, Rocco. Thank you, thank you. No, it's real, dude. It's actually real. I just looked at their menu. Yeah. Look at the hot dogs on these guys. Yeah, out of context, that does sound a little bit funny, doesn't it? All right, guys, here we are. Show us the hot dogs. Maybe afterwards. Turin's next vacation confirmed. All right, Anna, I see my wife in chat. It's official. We're moving to Alaska. We're going to move down the street from the International House of Hot Dogs. And you know, one of Anna's favorite animals are moose, and you guys have moose up there as well. So, all right, guys. So it's on the road to Val's Anvil. This is the grand final. 1-1 in the series. Undead versus the Ogre Mercenaries. Who is going to be winning this? Will it be Sweet Revenge? Kark, of course, won the last event. So Kark and his ally, the True Bretonian. He's playing with a different ally today, but they did win the previous event and were able to defeat RTK in the grand finals. But RTK's team of Subutai and Sandwich are here in the finals to try and bring it home to Clan RTK. So taking a look at the breakdown here. It is going to be undead with some zombies looking to grab low ground objectives and a big scary undead blob up here. So we do have Necropolis Knights with halberds, triple Necropolis Knight halberd, looking to bully the ogres and the Bretonian cavalry. We got a Mortis Engine halberds, a double Vargulf. Oh wow, they really changed up their army here, guys. Trying to mind game their opponents, and we have Heinrich Kemmler as well. He's got the Chaos Tomb Blade, which is pretty nice, AoE healing, and also resurrects models. So, replenishes hit points, resurrects dead combatants, affects allies in range. Wait a second. So, does the Chaos Tomb Blade resurrect non-undead? So, could you have the Chaos Tomb Blade resurrecting, like, dwarves or, like, ogre models near you? Holy shit, that could actually be a really strong combo as well. All right. Now, for the Order Tide, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Henri Lamassif, the Paladins, as well as the Fey Enchantress. Firebelly coming up, looking to get some sweet action here. Foot Squires in the back. Double Lead Belcher. The Grail Reliques, which have been a signature of this team all day. Looking to give that sustained fighting potential. And I actually really like the idea of the Order Tide fighting for Objective 1 and then using their superior cavalry and mobility to take the low ground objectives from the undead. I think that's going to be good. Dungeon Idiot says, I do indeed prefer to be called an idiot. Oh no, come on. I will call you that though if that's what you prefer. Thank you so much, man. I can't thank you guys enough. It's huge. I'll take the wife to a date at Applebee's. We'll give her a true taste of our culture here. The Chaos Tomb Blade resurrecting allies, and it doesn't have the undead stipulation, which is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy for sure. Vargulf sitting here. We got double White Kings. We got the Lich Priest of Nehekara, Heinrich hanging out, and the Goon Squad of Bretonia has been in every single game today. We have not been seeing any variants. I think the Fey Enchantress is just too good. Like, she's so much better than Lewin and Alberic. Like, you can't even draw a comparison. Like, the amount of damage she does with her Mortis and also in melee, the healing, she's a small target, incredibly difficult to snipe. The Mortis Engine effects, just like magic resist. Dude, it's just so much. It's so much. I really like the Firebelly Lord too. The Firebelly Lord seems like a nice tech. Like, just Tomb Kings are really weak to burning head effects, and the Vampire Counts are also susceptible with their chaff units, right? So you could definitely get your money's worth. So pulling back are the Lead Belchers. They're going to be retreating through. Here we have Heinrich hunting them down, but he's going to be, better be careful. Firebelly's got the big stick. He's going to be bonking Heinrich on the head, I would imagine. Here he comes. He's going to be turning about face. Oh, look at the Sparta kick. He just actually Sparta kicked one of his allies there, but it actually did do damage to Heinrich. So Heinrich in the danger zone a little bit. Vargulf's extending up, but now we do have Iron Guts moving in to intercept. Big cav charge coming in as the Necropolis Knights surge in and are ready to force a blob fight. Now, guys, I think the Chaos Tomb Blade is going to be affecting the Necropolis Knights. I'm not sure. I'd have to take a look at the tooltip. But what's really funny about this Order Tide build, guys, is that they have a Grail Relic. So none of their units are going to take terror. They have buffed leadership. So they're going to be able to stand with the Undead really well, whereas normally you couldn't. On the low ground, Undead grabbing Objective 2, Undead grabbing Objective 3. So looking pretty comfortable here. So it looks like the Order Tide is going to be committing all of their resources basically to trying to win this high ground fight and then push down and take Objective 2. Beautiful concave. We got Peasant Archers and Lead Belchers shooting, and nobody's doing a thing about them. Look at this. The Mortis Engine's getting DAC'd down by all the Peasant Archers and Lead Belchers. It's at 2200 HP. It's on the run, getting absolutely nuked. Chalice of Potions, big one, but it does do some big friendly fire damage, but mostly does take out some of the Tomb Guard with Halberds as well. Claw of Nagash on the run. Dismember is active. It's at negative 12 leadership. The Lead Belchers are shooting it from downtown. They have the range. They can continue to range this thing, and wow, killing this Mortis Engine this early is such a big play. The Undead lose their Mortis Engine, whereas the Order Tide is going to be holding on to theirs. Just huge, huge wall of high leadership. Battle Pilgrims backed up by Ogre Mercenaries. We have the Iron Guts stacked with the Grail Relics. And overall, man, they're doing some big damage. We got Krell in there as well. Krell with the big chopping damage, but he's only temporary. So despite having a badass Mohawk, I think Krell should be a permanent summon or should find a way to last longer. It's always disappointing how he disappears. But no pressure on the low ground. It looks like the Order Tide is consolidating all their efforts. And guys, I think the Vampires are in massive danger because the Order Tide shooting is just causing massive destruction, and there are no efforts or Fellbats or Carrion to shut any of this down. And the Vampires are just getting absolutely dacked into the Shadow Realm. We see a Vargulf dying, the Fey Enchantress and her 2 Paladins leading the charge. The Vargulf falls, and the Ogre Tide buffering with the Foot Squires, really preventing them from being trampled by Crypt Horrors. We have Krell, we have the White Kings, but Fey Enchantress Goon Squad doing huge work, while the Ogre Mass and the Lead Belcher shooting is just doing devastating damage. So Crypt Horrors try and get here, but the Companions of Quenelles, the brave Sons of Bretonia, get out there with their anti-large, and these Crypt Horrors are going to get cut to pieces, especially considering they're being just nuked by the Peasant Archers in the back as well. And the Ogres piling in to help the Bretonian Knights. Very, very thematic stuff. I love it. Crypt Horror is going down. Middle objective is owned by the Order Tide. Looking at the value discrepancy, it's massive. 6.5 for Subutai, 5.1 for Sandwich. Only 2,000 damage for the Vampire count so far. Tomb King's doing a little bit more damage with their Ushapti Greatbow, which are just now getting into position. But is it going to be too late for the Undead? Are they going to get pushed back? Who knows? So Ogre Bulls down in the low ground, going to be going after zombies. Ogre Bulls here, going to be going on to the middle objective as well. So the Ogres, when you pull a value lead, okay, you're going to be able to then go for the side points. So they're just kind of basically land battling up in the high ground. We see Burning Head going down, just roasting through the Undead forces, tanking their leadership. And even if it's not doing damage, it does tank their leadership as well. The Grail Relic giving immune to psychology here, so the entire army of the Ogres is immune to ITP. There's no terror outs. You're literally going to have to kill them almost to the last Ogre. Chalice of Potions coming down, nuking some of the Tomb Guard Halberds, and the Undead are really, really getting into some dangerous waters. You see Ogre units coming out, but Ogre Bulls trade really, really well with Crypt Horrors. They have pretty much the same weapon strength. They cost 200 or 300 less gold. Their HP is in the ballpark, and 2 Ogre Bull units will just dominate Crypt Horror if they pile in and help each other. Peasant Archers coming from the low ground as well, so they will be coming in to get some Zaka into the Crypt Horrors. And overall, this objective is just firmly in the control of the Order Tide. It seems like the Fey Enchantress, providing Mist of the Lady too. So she debuffs the melee attack of all nearby units with her Mist of the Lady ability. So she brings a lot to the table. Grail Knight's going to be coming around the side. Big charge. Lance is somewhat couched, not Lance formation, but they are going to wreck this Corpse Cart. Is that Helman Gorse? I don't think so. No, it's just Corpse Cart. The Corpse Cart here, he could kill it, but the Grail Knights could also move in and get on top of the Great Bows back here. A couple Ogres penetrate through the front line. Man-Eaters with great weapons and Ogre Bulls, and they crush these Ushapti Great Bows. So the big Chunguses are proving to be an absolute distraction in the backfield. And now Ogres can intercept reinforcements, especially with Man-Eaters. So they just run away from the Halberds right here, guys. And now they're going to be trying to block up the reinforcements to keep the Undead from getting up to the Blob fight, to just further accentuate their chances for victory. Knights of the Lionhearted coming to crush some zombies down here. This objective controlled by the Chungus Kingdoms. As what we said earlier, the double Ogre Bull unit. These big boys showing the Crypt Horrors who the biggest boys are in the world. They're going to be clubbing them down, and they certainly going to be eating well tonight. And, well, I guess they're undead, so it's not the most nutritious, but I don't know. Ogres, I feel like they could eat some slightly rotten meat and probably be okay. They're there's so many animals in the wild that can do that, so. Now, looking here, we do see the companions getting routed, but they did hold back these units. Man-eaters with great weapons as well as basic ogre bulls fighting blood knights, and despite losing the fight, not doing bad. They actually did some good damage against those blood knights. Man-eater, great weapons, and man-eaters in general are very, very underrated. Here we do have the undead character squad going after the Fey Enchantress. This could be a big problem. If Subutai loses the Fey Enchantress here, that could maybe flip the script on this battle. Granted, the Firebelly and company are still grinding very, very well, and the ogres and the Order Tide have taken control of the other two objectives. Obviously, Knights of the Lionhearted are going to annihilate a zombie unit, right? A charge bonus of 95, and then they also have almost 40 weapon strength. So that's going to basically just one-shot, just absolutely one-shot a zombie unit. We see some Tomb Guard Halberds coming out, but honestly, they'll probably be able to send some infantry over and or cycle charge those Halberds in open field and potentially kill them. Fey Enchantress was able to get away, so the White Kings weren't able to keep up with her on her Unicorn, and now we get Ogre Bulls coming in to protect. Firebelly pulling back, and the undead start to flip this objective a little bit. So the sustainability of the Chaos Tomb Blade, Sternsmen, the Corpse Carts, the Cryptors, the Vargulfs, and the White Kings is starting to give them a little bit of a fighting edge here on this objective. Granted, the Fey Enchantress is now back over here, but now what the Order Tide can do is basically just hold this objective for as long as they possibly can and start to play the low ground objectives, because the undead are so entrenched up here, but it's going to take them a while to move over to the other side and start to switch their their allocations. So Lead Belchers, how you guys looking? Sitting at a lot of gold chevrons. 1,700 value on these Lead Belchers. These other Lead Belchers continuing to just blast away at anything the undead have that's big, which is Cryptors, which is Blood Knights. These Blood Knights getting DAC'd pretty hard, but now there's going to be some backfield penetration as the neck shield, I don't know. I thought like Blood Knights and Shield and Brain got well wired there. But the Nehekar Horsemen get into the backfield, and the Blood Knights also are going to be getting on top of the Lead Belchers. Ushapti Summon coming in from the Undead. Are they going to be able to get this objective, though? That's the thing. Ogres are really, really, really hard to get objectives from. They're fast, they have high capture weight, big HP pools, and yeah, man, those guys will sit on those objectives all day, especially with a little bit of healing. So, Shopti Summon on top of the Lead Belchers, Nehekar Horsemen on top of the Lead Belchers here, shutting them down, but the Fey Enchantress and the Grail Reliques going to be heading back in here, and it looks like the Ogres did get some more units onto the point, so they're still just holding on to this. And the Ogres really address one of the big weaknesses of Bretonnia, which is their capture weight. In general, Bretonian capture weight is kind of haggard, but yeah, with the Ogres sending in their bulls to complement that weakness, allowing your Fey Enchantress, your Archers, and your Cavalry to do really, really well, pretty solid. This one, maybe going back to the Undead, we do see Knights of the Lionhearted battling Necropolis Knights and Blood Knights here. Blood Knights going to be very scary. Iron Guts heading over to this point, and the Halberds on the low ground taking it back. So we could see the Undead become resurgent here, guys. Value trading is going to be about 24,000 to 19,000, but the Undead have massive amounts of healing. So maybe, but so did the Fey Enchantress and the Ogres. Although Ogres did go Firebelly, but they still have Butcher and Fey Enchantress healing. So there's a little bit of buffering on both sides for that. But this objective going to be flipping to the Vampire counts. Granted, we do get some Questing Knights coming down from the high ground. Questing Knights into the Blood Knights here. Fey Enchantress coming in to help and provide her Mist of the Lady and her Mortis Engine. Looks like Grail Reliques are hustling down here. Definitely should leave one Grail Relique up on the high ground, but it seems that the Ogres were able to get back in, and they were indeed coming to get you. As the Ogres get here and they start to crump down zombies, and the White Kings and the characters aren't going to be able to win against that. So now the Order Tide basically just needs to focus on these objectives. And for the Undead, it's very clear your path to victory. The Undead just need to hold these two objectives. I think taking the high ground objective 1 is going to be very tough, but 3 and 2 are very much on the table. You already control them. You got Blood Knights fighting, you got Tomb Guard Halberds entrenched here, but once again the Fey Enchantress is back, and the Mist of the Lady is going to start draining these guys down. Grail Relique with Iron Guts, like Iron Guts have big armor piercing. They're basically, great weapon ogres, and not quite like man-eaters, but Iron Guts are pretty good against Cav in general, and they themselves have high armor, so Blood Knights don't have a ton of armor piercing, so Iron Guts, they lose the Blood Knights, but they can put up a good fight. So the Blood Knights get crumped back. They're actually crumbling. A couple Chad Knights of the Lionhearted hunting them to their death. Obviously, they're going to be losing to the Blood Knights, but they are perpetuating the crumbling, although the crumbling does stabilize here. And now the Order Tide is taking this objective back. The double Grail Relique, the Iron Guts, the Ogre Bulls here, the Cav, Fey Enchanters, and Archers are able to wrestle that one back, ladies and gentlemen, as the Mortis Engine has come back. Now, losing that Mortis Engine in the beginning, very, very tough stuff. Very, very tough stuff. But it's back now, but it's not going to do a whole lot against the Ogres. The Ogres don't give a shit. Mortis Engines do very little damage to each model. So the more models you have, the more valuable the DPS on a Mortis Engine is. But if you're fighting something where each model has a massive amount of individual HP and a low model count, Mortis Engines become exponentially worse. So the Ogres actually kind of get a surround on this Mortis Engine. And again, they have like 70 to 100 weapon strength apiece. So they're going to be able to potentially punch this thing into the Shadow Realm. And once again, is the Mortis just going to die again right away? I think sending the Mortis Engine to this fight would have been a much stronger play, but it is what it is. Fey Enchantress a little bit trapped up. Grail Relique keeping her alive, keeping her leadership stable. Looks like an Earthblood's going to be coming down as the Blood Knight's going to be going for the kill on the Fey Enchantress, which would be a huge pick. With the Mortis Engine forced to retreat, Ogre's just cackling on this objective. The White King's proving to be a very big nuisance. Wow, 2,000 value on this White King, and the other White King's going to be sitting on 1,200, but they're just not able to get through the capture weight here. The undead infantry just keep getting butchered. Here, the Ogres with dual weapons clearing out the chaff units. Mortis Engine coming over to help, but these Ogre dual weapons are in their zone, just kind of grinding down zombies and whatnot. It is a 2-to-1 cap. The Order Tide does have almost 1,100 points, so it's getting to the crunch zone where they're going to need a triple cap very, very soon if they want a chance to win. Very, very soon. It's rapidly approaching that territory. Fey Enchantress still alive with 400 HP, and she's probably, dude, I don't even want to look at this value. It's probably going to be foul. Dude, the Fey Enchantress has pretty much carried every single game she's been in today. 3,700 value on the Fey. So, yeah, it's like, why even bring Lewin? Like, Lewin is not going to get 4,000 value. Fey Enchantress is just, like, so much better in pretty much every single way. So, Halberds are here. Ogres still bumping and grinding. And, you know, Tomb Guard Halberds, yeah, they're anti-large, but their armor's not that high. And Ogres do have that bonus for infantry, and they also have the Massacre going down. I think there was a Massacre, yeah. So the armor-piercing damage is going to be increased a little bit, which is cute. Undead sending in zombies and cryptors, and the dreaded Reaganomics are upon us. So basically, they're trickling in units now, and this is where the undead become a little bit weaker. When they have to start trickling things in instead of having a consolidated blob, they start to have some serious problems for sure. So low ground objective, though, just being held by some spears. The Order Tide not being greedy. They're basically just trying to hold their double cap, which I think is smart. I think going for like although you could send like one like Battle Pilgrim or Foot Squire over here, that might not be a bad idea. Just to like force your opponent to go after it to take pressure off the other objectives. Yeah, that's true. The Fey Enchantress can't fly Pwn, but she's just so much better. Like, why would you ever take those other characters? The utility she brings to the table is so good. AoE debuffs, AoE healing, AoE damage, like just so good. And she allows you to bring the 2 Paladin characters, and yeah, it's just so strong. Paladin battling the White King, very thematic duel. We have a noble hero, Bretonia, battling a foul undead hero, which is great. White King doing pretty good, but the Paladin should be able to get the edge, considering he has a little bit of Ogre support. These Ogre Bulls slowly killing this White King. High ground objective, there's no way the undead are going to be able to get this. Absolutely no way. Granted, this objective is starting to flip to the undead as well, but this is triple cap territory. They're going to need a triple cap to win. The Order Tide is too close to winning, and I simply don't see them getting all 3 objectives. Maybe just like by pouring on undead bodies and just that grinding attrition, they're going to be able to swing this one back. But we do see more Knights coming in. The Knights might be able to get there. Going to be charging into the Necropolis Knights with Halberds. Here they come. Lances out for the lady. So here they come. Nothing like a Bretonian cab charge as boom, a thundering charge right into the side here of these Necropolis Knights. They take big damage despite having pretty high armor. Charge bonus is charge bonus. And the Grail Relic just keeping them fighting, man. This objective, though, looking to flip to the undead. Peasant archers coming in, and are they refortifying the high ground now? Yes, they are. So the Ogres stop sending troops to the middle. They know it's triple cap territory, and this is a complete dominance from the Order Tide on the high ground. The undead are wiped. Halberds are dying. Both White Kings are dead. Complete dominance on this objective. So they're just like, screw it, man. We'll just keep, rumbling down here, fight for as long as we can, hold this, but it is triple cap territory. And ladies and gentlemen, the Ogre Mercenaries and the Bretonians have won today's Grand Alliances tournament. So once again, all of the doomsayers saying that the undead are unbeatable, well, they're 0 for 2 in the grand finals. However, they have made it to the grand finals twice. Truly a contender, but clearly there are factions that can beat them. And yeah, there you go. GG, well played, guys. We can fast forward through the end of this one as the Fey Enchantress comes back, doing a little bit of a victory lap. Fighting continues for a moment longer, but 1 point a second is going to get the job done. And RTK has brought home the Grand Alliance's belt. We will see if Team Korea will be back to strike once again. GG, well played! This is the end of the stream, yes. That was Game 3 in the Grand Finals, best of 3. For the lady and for the mom. The Bretonians made a good decision. Hiring the Ogres as mercenaries in this tournament certainly was a very cool combo. I love the synergies. I think of the entire event, my favorite synergy was the Haggard Grail Reliques giving ITP and leadership to like mass Ogre bodies. It's perfect. Undead fulfilling their perfect 80s cartoon villain roles. Exactly, yeah. The undead have always got to be the villains, guys. You've always got to be the villains. So, Fey Enchantress 4,000. Fey has carried a lot of games today. Firebelly was a chat as usual. Great Lead Belcher play. The Lead Belchers were so good at shooting the Mortis Engine down. Iron Guts were super cool too. I love seeing them being used. Maneater, great weapons. Solid pick. Who would have thought Maneaters are so good? But they are. 2100, 1800. Awesome. And for the Undead, what did well? Blood Knights didn't do badly. That was pretty much it. The Mortis Engine got wrecked. Vargulfs were not very good. One of them did okay, I guess. But yeah, the Vargulfs got karate chop. Tomb Kings, I'm starting to think maybe like double Tomb Kings would be better than Tomb Kings Vampire Counts. Because with double Tomb Kings, you get double the healing from the Lore of Nakara. And you also just get more shooting and more utility. I think like double Tomb Kings or Tomb Kings Coast. I want to see somebody try Tomb Kings Vampire Coast. I feel like that would actually be stronger than Vampire Counts. But just a guess. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Once again, I want to sincerely thank you all for the super generous donations. You guys are the best, man, and keeps the old man going. Really, really appreciate it. We're going to be back soon. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to be streaming. Maybe something like just fun and casual tomorrow, but that's going to be it for today. So congratulations to the winner. It is going to be the Order Tide, aka the Ogre Mercenaries, technically. Not Order Tide, but, kind of half and half there. But that was really fun. That was really, really fun, man. Yeah, Undead Gunline, like Coast and Tomb Kings with Ushapti Great Bows and like handgun mobs. That sounds very, very scary, actually. So I'm going to organize another 2v2 tournament for next week. I know you guys really enjoy this format, and it's one of my favorite formats right now, actually. I think it's a really fresh take on the game. So, see you guys next time. Congratulations to Subuchai and Sandwich, the champions of RTK, bringing the belt home to their clan, and to Kark and Takoyaki for the great play, and to all those who participated in the event. So that's going to be it for today. Adios, do widzenia. See you on the other side. Again, just want to sincerely thank all the folks who donated, all of you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the format, do drop a like on the way out. It helps so much. And that's it for today, man. Take care of yourselves. Adios. See ya. Take care.